Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to SATAL 2020. I'm your host, Moltar, and we are here today with another Gold League matchup. Harpia taking on ECV56. It's going to be a good one, ladies and gentlemen. I am ready. I hope you're ready. We need to buckle up for this ride because as some of you have seen in the Supercut, beware of the Mirage. Some things are about to go down. It's just me today, at least for a little bit. Let me quote what Billy sent me. Says, some jackass hit the power pole a few weeks ago, and I think the ISP is out there making some permanent repairs. Always the jackass's fault. And I have to agree with him, because the mustache can never be the man to blame. Always the jackass. And I'm going to bet, ladies and gentlemen, the jackass is mustacheless. No mustache to be seen. Anyway, he says, should be 30 minutes, but who knows with the ISP. But that doesn't matter, because we got Harpia, ECV56, taking off, a Napa. I think it's against Sochi. Air-to-air destruction. Again, beware of the Mirage. Beware of the Mirage. And you know what I forgot to do? I forgot to get the Supercut because I'm a scrub. So I'm going to get that real quick. But how's everybody's weekend going? Everybody having a good weekend? I'm having a great, it's not even weekend yet. My brain's telling me it's the weekend. What is wrong with me? It's not even the weekend yet, Moltar. Come on. What is this? Jumping ahead. Pandemic's just ruining me. Not really ruining me. It's ruining what day I think it is. Is it doing that for anybody else? It's definitely doing it for me. Let's see. URL path. Got it. Got it. Get it. Got it. Good. There we go. All right. Let's try this again. ECV56. Harpia. Coming at you. Gold League. Backroom brawl. Beware of the Mirage. Let's do this, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, sitting here pretty. It's actually Maycop taking on something. Why is that messed up? Why is something is not right? Something is not right. We're gonna get rid of the scoreboards. Anyway, it's Maycop taking on Guadada. There's our man in the Mirage, Brand. We're here sitting behind Harpia as they sit active on runway 22 at Maycop. We got Harpia and then Bob. Beware the Bob. In the F-16, looks like Bob's taking 4 120s. Then we got 2 F-15s up front with Derby and Trigger. So, Mirage, we didn't say anything about what he's taken. Brand is probably taking 2 530s and 2 Magics. I think those are the 2 Mirage missiles. And then I'm not sure what the Eagles are taking. Eagle, Derby looks like he's taken 3 bags, and then Trigger looks like he's taken 2. So will that play any role? Oh, it's not an Eagle. That's a flanker. That is not an Eagle. That is a flanker. So we got one of several different aircraft. We got one Mirage, 116, 115, and one flanker, or 127. So several different aircraft coming from Harpia. How will this mesh together? Quick shout out to Gordo B, dropping 5 gifted subs. Congratulations to everybody that is just got those. And then Gordo B dropped another gifted sub. So he's got 6 altogether. Derby leads the way for Harpia here off Maycop in his F-15. Sounds like the Su-27 forgot to spool. I heard him spooling, and then he started to roll. So he is now rolling. Other camera is in the ground. There we go. What are your guys' expectations for today's match? I'm really excited about what we saw in that Supercut with the Mirage, because typically the Mirage doesn't do a whole lot, and in that Supercut, it looked like the Mirage does some stuff. Tomcat may do some stuff, but I'm also excited because we got a bunch of different aircraft in today's match. Everybody's not flying the same thing. People flying different things, and I'm anxious to see how these things come together. This melting pot of different airframes. How does everything mesh together? I'm interested to see that. Also interested to see the weapons management coming from Brand on his Mirage, because he's only got 4 weapons. I mean, we talk about the F-16 only having limited supplies. Well, the Mirage, if you see here, takes that to the next level. I mean, you can see he's only got 4 missiles. And in the Supercut, you saw that there was some guns action. So I'm assuming he actually runs out of missiles. Some power-assisted weapons. And has to rely on kinetic energy of his gun to dismantle his opponent. I don't know. See how that goes. F-16 starting to roll. There he goes. Now we're just waiting on Brand. We're going to follow Brand out. Go, Brand, go! I think we're all hoping the Mirage does well because we don't see a lot of Mirages. The other team, Thuff, is flying. Let's check that now. The other team's coming out of Guadada. So if we flip over and look at the map, the other team is flying a JF-17, which we don't see a lot of, a 16, an 18, and a 14. So we actually have a really good representation of almost every aircraft that's typically flown in SATAL. The only one that has multiples in this matchup today is the 16. Everything else is a one-off. Completely. It's not shared on the opposite team. It's just a one-off. So it'd be really interesting if these guys are able to take advantage of everything that their own specific aircraft has to offer. Will we see Phoenix kills coming from the 14? It's got a significant range advantage in comparison to everybody else. Will we see advantages with the JF-17? The JF-17 has an advantage with knowing where people are because of its pod. I don't know. I don't know what we're going to see here. think we're seeing some, nice formation flying coming from Derby and Trigger in the F-15 and the Su-27. Sorry, I think that's a J-11, J-11, not a Su-27. Sorry to all my J-11 or Su-27 purists. It is not a Su-27. It is a J-11. So 501st, Lyra, Harpia has a J-11, but ECV56 does not. ECV56 has a JF-17, an F-16, an F-14, and an F-18. I think we're finally getting back into the... I'm learning the camera. We are learning the camera. Dagwood drops the bit. I'm up on stage and he's making it rain. Says Moltar, I love that show. Hits me with a penny. Love it. Love it. It's a little bit of a distance for these two teams. Again, it is Maycop. Or sorry, it's not Maycop. It's Krimsk. It's Krimsk against Guadada. So separation between airfields is 130, 150 miles, I think is what it is. So they do have a bit to fly. 150 miles, yeah. So separation between the two teams currently is 75 miles. We're going to be encroaching on Tomcat range here soon. So let's see what our Kitty's doing. Kitty's being piloted by Praetorian. What is the Kitty rocking? Kitty's rocking 4 54s and 4 AIM-9s, no AIM-7s, because the AIM-7 is a big pile of poo. Big pile of poo. Hold on, guys. I'm responding to an eBay thing that I gotta take care of. There we go. Hopefully that's fixed. Let's take a look at what is going on map-wise here. SD-10's in the air being responded to by Derby with a 120. So this is the B weapon restriction. So if we look at the JF-17... Well, never mind. I changed that with the JF-17. So the JF-17 is allowed to carry 4 SD-10s. Everybody else that carries the AMRAAMs is allowed to carry 6, but the Tomcat is restricted to the AIM-54 Mark 47. So just be aware that there will be no Mark 60s today. Nope, camera went a little bit haywire. But look at the... God, the missiles, guys. Don't launch from that. It's a waste. That is a waste. Huge waste. And in the JF-17, you're only able to see, or not see, but carry 6 missiles and 4 actives. You got to make sure that those are going to count. And that was so far away. I mean, that launch was from, how far was that launch? Over 30 miles. Gordo B drops 54 bits, threw a couple quarters and some pennies at me. Says, cheered 50. Oh, he just cheered 54. He doesn't say anything. He's silence. He's happy in his silence. Boring song. But just be patient. Got to be patient here. Don't waste those missiles. We've seen time and time again that it comes back to bite you when you don't wait. But we're going to grab... Oh, the Tomcat's turned around, so we're not going to ride along him. Let's see what the J11 with Trigger is doing. What is he doing? So many squares. Oh, sorry. Let's get rid of the squares. Oops. Forgot to get rid of those weapon markers. So you guys are ingressing. ECV56 Fortinero takes another SD-10 shot on Trigger, and Trigger immediately defends. He starts to dive. So that's not going to cause him any type of strife. That missile's going to be completely out of energy by the time it gets anywhere even close to him. So I don't anticipate that being a problem at all. That missile ends up actually being unsupported, because if you see, Fortinero launched it and then turned cold. I don't know if he was able to support that until it went pitbull or not, but he turns around rather abruptly. Derby now fires an AIM-120. I think that's going to be on Duca. And if we flip to Duca's view, Duca launched an AIM-120. It's 3 miles away and closing on it and on its contact, but he immediately breaks away. Guys, no! You got to support your missiles! Not supported! Have to support them. Have to support them. It has to happen. If you don't, it's just bad. It's just not going to work. Billy says he's back up. Told him to call me, so he'll be joining here in just a second. You guys get the mustache man. Mustache! But nothing's really happening right now. Guess we can flip to some attack music. Lyra says missiles. MLM. We should go with that. Though, I kind of feel bad about harping on the Black Lives Matter thing. I mean, guys, I fully support Black Lives Matter. We'll just say that now. Let's not make this political, but I'm going to say that because what I'm about to say, I don't want this to come across wrong. But I like the Missile Lives Matter thing, but I don't want to play down the Black Lives Matter movement. If you get what I would love to say, Missile Lives MLM for life, but I don't want to kind of downplay the BLM movement, if you will. Anyway, AIM-54 is in the air. Can we grab it? Where is it? There's the AIM-54. So let's flip over to it. Let's grab some dual screen action. As the AIM-54 closes on Brand, I'm going to grab Brand's point of view so we can see if we can see that missile coming in. We can see the dot way up there. So the AIM-54 is 5 miles away. I don't think it's going to reach out and touch him. Don't think it's going to. It doesn't have the juice. Brand's at 600 knots. That AIM-54 is down to 700 now, 600 knots. She is done. She is trashed. And that is all. That's going to be it. So we're going to go back to our main view because that AIM-54 is dunzo. Not a bad shot. I mean, I would have rather him wait, especially if you know you're firing on a Mirage. I guess he doesn't technically know he's firing on Mirage. Firing from that distance, I mean, where did he fire from? 30 miles? Mark 47, you're probably going to be able to outrun that. More than likely. You're probably going to be able to outrun that. So patience is a virtue. You got to wait. Just wait him out. Head-on incursion possible coming in between the JF-17 of Fortinero. Is he breaking away? He looks like he's breaking away. Yeah, he be breaking away. I guess he decided that he wasn't able to see exactly what he wanted and broke away, which I like. I like that he's not overcommitting. I like that he's decided that he can't see what he wants to see, doesn't want to get in too close to his enemy without a good picture, and is now extending back to his zealots. I really like that. I really, really like that. He didn't shoot, didn't waste a missile. He's got 2 ST-10s, and is it the P6? Is that the IR missile? Is that what it is? Or it's Iron Man. I think Fortinero was in Folds of Honor in the 1v1s. But I really like that he didn't waste a weapon, and he just turned away. That was well done. Take note. Well done. Will we see that idea played out through the entirety of this match? I'd like to see that. In the map still, overall, nothing going on. ECV56 is being very patient. We've got another AIM-54 being launched by Praetorian. We like to ride along with those AIM-54s. We're not going to jump to it yet because it's still a ways out, and I can't tell who it's on. Can't tell who that's on yet. Guess we can flip to it real quick. Ride along with it for a little bit. There's not much else going on another part of the map. Derby's launching a 120 at 2 southern contacts, but that's not going to be a problem. It's launched on Trigger. So let's see if we can grab Trigger. There's the AIM-54. Split screen! And here comes the AIM-54. You can see it over Trigger's shoulder. The AIM-54 is still at 1,200 knots, inside 3 miles, 2.5 miles now, but it is bleeding all kinds of energy. That little maneuver, ladies and gentlemen, the serpentine that we talk about time and time again. Look what it did to the missile. That missile has no energy left. It went from 1,100 knots to 400 knots. It is toast. Done. Second says the moves. And Trigger put the shake and bake down on that missile, let me tell you. Shake and bake all the way. I'm doing the face thing right now from Talladega Nights. You guys just can't see it. Face thing all the way. Let me grab Billy here. Oh. Billy.
Billy is here.
I think you're a little quiet. There we go. You there? Billy! Maybe Billy died. I can't hear you, Billy. He died. Anyway. Still 4 pilots remaining for both sides. Billy's back. 4 pilots remaining for both sides. Brand is now pressing for Harpia in against Fortinero. Fortinero's cold. Praetorian and Ducko are now hot. Internet good? We hope.
Internet is good. Push the talk button on Discord browser, however, giving me a problem right now. So that's the issue we're working through right now. So you may be hearing some odd background noises here and there.
All good. All good. I'll yell at you if I hear, things we shouldn't be hearing in the background.
How's things going in the map so far?
They're good. Nothing's really happened yet. Harpia has taken on ECV56. The supercut featured a Mirage. Beware of the Mirage. So
interesting.
We're hoping the Mirage gets some action. Brand is piloting the Mirage for Harpia. And he's pretty far forward. So he's separated, if we jump to the map, he is separated by 8 miles. So Brand is separated by 8 miles from the nearest ECV56 aggressor. And Fortinero is now pressing aggressively against Brand. Now, Brand is doing a good job. I haven't seen Brand, who's in the Mirage, shoot anything yet. And he didn't shoot at Fortinero. And Fortinero may be in a bag and drag situation where Brand, I think, is trying to drag him back to his wingmen in the J11 of Trigger. But it looks like Fortinero isn't taking the bait. Fortinero's done a really good job of recognizing when he thinks he doesn't have the full picture and turns away. So we've seen that a couple times from him. We've actually seen it several times from multiple people in the match, that it seems, at least from a few people, they're not wasting weapons. Now, there are some people, like I just saw Ducko launch a 120 from 12 miles, which isn't an awful shot, but Ducko is at 5,000 feet, and a 12-mile shot with an AIM-120B at 5,000 feet isn't going to do you much. But Chueco, I'm going to assume that's his name, gets a decent 120 out, and that's going to have some pep. She is going to have some pep in her step by the... No, she's not. So I thought it was on Brand, but it's on Trigger. And if we look what Trigger sees from his J11, there's the 120. You can see it falling away. So that's not going to do anything. That is done. ET, meanwhile, was launched in response by Trigger onto Praetorian. What is it doing? It was a sneaky ET shot. It doesn't have a lot of juice. So let's see where that missile is. I don't see it. Don't see it. It's coming in on Praetorian. There it is. It's down low. No, that's a plane. I don't see it. It flew by him. So that missile was trashed. But Brand now is getting aggressive. Brand is getting very aggressive in his pressing here. And we've actually got Praetorian launching on him. That is a close AIM-54. Where'd it go? There it is. And I don't... That's going to track. So let me see if I can get... Brand... Where is it? There's the AIM-54, and it takes Brand down. That was like an 8-mile AIM-54 shot. 8 miles away, and I think you'll agree here, Billy, that 8 miles, if you're not low and slow, and you can't out-G that missile, you're in a lot of trouble against an AIM-54 launched from that close.
Slow is tough there. I think you need terrain. Excuse me. It's the only way you're really avoiding that mess. I mean, that thing's moving so fast, probably well over Mach 3 at that point. I don't know how downhill he was, but
it was downhill.
Yeah,
there was probably a 10-mile altitude separation. So sorry about the camera angle there, guys. It was a little rough trying to get it. Trigger's got a 120 coming in on him, and an ER coming in on Ford and Narrow. That ER is going to be unsupported, but Trigger's got an SD-10. Where is it? There it is, half-mile away. Quarter-mile away. Trigger's done a really good job of bleeding these missiles out of energy as they get closer. He's done a really good job of pulling maneuvers that cause the missiles just to expend everything they've got in terminal guidance. He's done that a couple times now, and I really like that. And this is a good example, chat, of the type of maneuvers that Billy and I have been talking about throughout the months of when we talk about serpentines and stuff, when you've got incoming threats, or you're trying to bleed a missile out of energy. This is what we're talking about. Jinking maneuvers. It doesn't even have to go up and down, but back and forth, or barrel rolls of some type, is going to kill all of a missile's energy when it reaches terminal guidance. It's not going to do a whole lot while it's in initial, because how ED's changed the guidance and how the missile's guidance should be, it's not all over the place like it used to be, always trying to pull for lead pursuit. I think it's perfectly fine being a lag pursuit. It adjusts a little bit, but it doesn't bleed energy like it anywhere near like it used to in initial. But in terminal, it has to, because it's got to still get to its target, right?
Right. Yeah, I think as you kind of alluded to, the serpentine maneuver is such a valuable thing to learn and get in your repertoire as a pilot. Especially guys going in and doing this type of stuff. That little thing right there is going to help you get turned. Not necessarily. I think in most cases, me and you will agree, serpentining isn't going to mean the difference between life and death. In most cases, certainly there are times where that's the case. But what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to get around faster, get recommitted quicker, because you've bled that energy faster. And that, I think, is worth its weight at the end of the day. And valuable to point out.
Yep. And if we look at the map, Trigger actually has another 120 launched at him. That's going to be trashed. I don't think we can see it. Yeah, there it is. It's back there. It's actually going to fly into the mountain. So that thing's done. You guys couldn't see it because I didn't switch cameras because I had a Moltar fail and I suck at my job. But nothing really. I did. But you can't. The picture's worth 1,000 words, and if you can't see anything, it doesn't do a whole lot.
This is the truth.
This is the truth. So Derby and Bob. I love the name Bob. Harpia's Bob. Now ingressing gets Ducko in the ECV56's F-18. Something I pointed out earlier, Billy, is that the only duplicate aircraft for both sides in this match is an F-16.
Interesting. Yeah, I saw there was a Jeff involved as well, too. I like seeing that guy get in the mix a little bit more.
Yep. ER coming in against Fortinero. Is he going to be able to get away from it? Pulls a last-ditch effort to go up. He doesn't, but his SD-10 actually takes down Trigger. So the ER, I don't know if it got unsupported, but Trigger got taken out by Fortinero's responded SD-10. I don't know. Maybe he tried to support that missile for too long. I don't know what happened there. We missed that last second whatever happened, but they shot missiles at each other. Obviously, the ER has to be supported all the way into its target, whereas Trigger, the SD-10, is an active missile, so it just has to be supported until it goes pitbull. And what ended up happening is, I'm going to assume, Trigger tried to support the missile for too long and ended up eating it because of it. Now we've got Fortinero. Fortinero's been really patient. He hasn't come in really into any type of situation where he's getting caught with his pants down. So Fortinero, is he really low? No, he's not too low. The overall situation, let's jump to split screen so you guys can see this. So we've got Fortinero on the right coming in against Derby. I'm going to see if I can grab... There's Derby. So Derby tries to put an AIM-9 on him, but that's not seen. And now Fortinero has a 120 coming in on him from the left. There it is. So Fortinero gets taken down. And that was a good example of a bag and drag done by Derby. That was a prime example of a bag and drag situation. The AIM-9 didn't quite track, which was unfortunate. That could have been lethal. I mean, it was a decent shot, but it didn't end up working. Now head-on incursion coming between Ducko and Bob. Both of these guys are defending early. I don't think. I may be wrong. Those 120s, especially coming against Ducko. Ducko may be in trouble. Was that missile launched from a bit more altitude? Yes, it was. And Ducko gets pounded by the 120 launched by Harpia. And I guess he got caught too high and wasn't able to effectively line of sight it in time. But ECV56's early advantage of pilot numbers has now disappeared. And we are now down to a 2v2. A very even fight. And Harpia, Billy, is on the back foot. They're running.
Yeah, we don't often see a momentum shift like this in one match. I'm sorry, in the middle of one round. This has definitely been an interesting one so far from what I've seen.
Mm-hmm. Try and get this, you guys, a little bit better camera angle here. 120 coming in against Derby that you guys can see on the map screen. That's going to get outrun. And it just looks like we're riding along with Chew. I'm going to call him Chew in this situation, who's the leader for the ECV56 squadron as far as closest to their opponent. But now Derby, I guess, tried to go into this canyon, and Bob, I like this maneuver from Bob. I really like this maneuver from Bob. Well, I liked the maneuver from Bob. He was breaking away, and I thought he was going to recommit around the side, but I guess he didn't. He's stream back. Please be back. Yeah, stream's back. All right.
It's looking like it's trying.
Stream is back. So now Praetorian is running. What is going on here? So Praetorian is going to be head-on with Bob. No. There's Praetorian. There's Bob. So there goes a head-on AIM-9 shot. That's going to get line of sighted. No, he takes him down. I thought that was going to be, I thought he was further away. But Bob just eats an incoming telephone pole, well, a mini wannabe telephone pole, because I think that was an AIM-9, in the face. And when you get hit in the face, when you are facialized unknowingly, we talk about this a lot, Billy. It's not a good experience.
It's not. It's not. Nobody likes that.
Nobody likes an unseen facial. It's just not good.
No. Yeah, that's going to be a bad day for him right there.
Yeah, Bob especially. I mean, when Bob takes it, you're not ready for it. It's just a bad time.
Indeed.
So Derby is now head-on against Praetorian. Let's go to split view as we ride along with these guys ingressing head-on against each other. Derby has seen Praetorian, but Praetorian has not seen Derby. But Derby does not. Oh! Praetorian did see Derby, and Derby gets smashed in the face. Oh! They hit each other. Was that fratricide? Praetorian and Derby, I don't know what happened there, but they both get hit.
It's going to need the TAC view possibly to figure that out.
Well, we don't have TAC views.
Ooh. Oh,
there are no TAC views. It is unfortunate today. There were no provided TAC views. Fail by team. Team failure.
What happened there? What?
I don't know. We saw the explosions, which was good, right? I mean, that was beneficial.
People got hit. Facts.
We saw people die.
Facts.
But down goes Frazier and Frazier. They both went down.
What is that? Which Rocky is it where they're both knocked out trying to get back? Oh, good stuff right there.
That was solid. That was really solid. I'm glad we saw them both. I'm going to go and say they hit each other. That's what I'm going to say. I think Derby had a really good gunshot on him with M61, and Praetorian did really good with the AIM-9s on the F-14. I mean, we very rarely see the F-14 in close doing some work. Very, very rarely. So I'm really excited that seemed to work out for them.
Me as well. That was interesting.
Yeah. And now we are here with you, the lone survivor, the lone ranger. He is all that is left. That was a backroom brawl. I know we say Gold League's typically like that, but a lot of people died.
Have we ever had a match that ended in a draw on a trade? Because if what's his name was not there, that would have been the case here. And I don't think we've ever seen that happen, where the last two pilots trade and the match ends in a draw. And that we're close to that here today, which is an interesting thing in itself.
I don't think we have, in all honesty. I think
the rarest of the rarest SATAL finishes.
What's always happened is it's been somebody will die or get a kill and then they'll run out of fuel, or not able to find an airfield or something.
Yeah, they've had to work themselves to exhaustion just to get the W, and then don't end up getting it. Yeah, I'd like to see the trade though. That to me is the ultimate rare finish for the SATAL right there. The last two guys trading just to draw.
And the ultimate finish would be to have a trade with guns.
Right. the pre-merge sawing in half of both.
Oh, Brand says it was an over-G by the F-14. Oh, that makes sense. So he schmammerized himself, or he facialized himself. It was the ultra rare self facial.
It's very hard to not do something like that in a situation like that, especially in the 14, where that's a situation where you're pulling probably as hard as you can, trying to come through there and mitigating the structure of that plane is not an easy thing to do there.
Really, especially because Praetorian was probably, I don't have a way to go back. Praetorian was probably really fast.
No, undoubtedly.
So I would imagine, like Brand, you're the F-16 or the Mirage pilot, right? I think that's you. Pretty sure that's you. I'm pretty sure the F-14 was really, really fast in that. And like Heberth just said, the guns probably scared the crap out of him. He had a prairie dog moment coming out of his butt and probably over-G'd the aircraft. And that was it. And the F-14, when you over-G it, like the Su-27, is catastrophic in the results. Your wing departs, and like we've said in the past, you need wings to fly. If you don't have wings to fly, you're gonna have a bad day.
Yeah, no, those are key elements of the aerodynamic process, right? You're gonna need those to stay.
They're kind of important. They're kind of important.
Lift is a big thing we deal with here, guys, and you need wings to get lift in most cases, unless you got rotors. But I think that's a whole different ball wax right there.
Well, most cases.
Yeah, right.
Helicopters scare me. Helicopters, and I tell my wife this, that I will never fly on a helicopter a real one, because I don't want to actively participate in boarding a machine that is actively trying to kill me.
Prior to my life as a virtual pilot, I did a lot of photography, and I used to do a lot of aerial photography, so I'd have to go up in helicopters on a pretty frequent basis to shoot. And the first time I ever got to do it, I was super nervous. I'd never been in a helicopter before. The couple days I had to fly out to Chicago to go do it, so I was all nervous about all this. And I remember walking out, and I don't know how many guys in here are familiar with what a Robinson 22 is, or an R22, but I mean, it's basically a go-kart with a rotor on top. Like, I remember walking out, looking at this thing, going, this is the first, like, I'm gonna die in this thing. Like, I'm absolutely gonna die.
This is my first and last time in a helicopter. And as Man Bear Pig says, you always land. It just depends on how hard you land that matters.
Oh man, the guy was messing with me too. He did like a couple like practice emergency descents on the way back, because we were talking about all the I had my interest in flight sim and all that kind of stuff at the time. Yeah, interesting stuff, man. Those, especially the ultralight helicopters, are very scary. We caught a wind gust and did about I'd say a 300-degree quick spin, and I almost, you felt the stomach rise right up in you, and you're like, oh wow, what was that?
No thanks.
Yeah. So I was in Chicago, the windy city too, right? So fun stuff.
Flower, is that too soon? Too soon? Looks like Chew's gonna. Looks like Chew's gonna be able to make it back. He's idle now, bleeding his speed, 300 knots. We can see Guadada off to the right. I don't think he's gonna have any problem making it back to base. He's fenced out. He's got his lights on. I don't know if he was fenced in during combat. Maybe he had his lights on during combat. I'm not sure. Quick shout out to Gordo. Dropped another 10 bits and then gifted another subscription. So congratulations and welcome to everybody that is just joining us on this fine Thursday. Has it been raining there, Billy?
On and off all week. It's been in and out. I know I just woke up this morning to news that I think a tropical storm is bearing down my way. So hopefully this weekend, excuse me, may have some more internet problems ahead of me from the next couple streams here, depending on how that tropical storm works.
Everything here, most of the stuff that's here is underground, so we don't usually have problems. But Kansas, we deal with typically all different kinds of weather. I mean, all full spectrum aside from tropical storms, but those are substituted with tornadoes and major thunderstorms. So we get hail instead. So I think whatever. We get the property damage still.
Here like once or twice. That's one thing. Like when I moved to New England, that was like, oh shit, there's hail and it's big and it can knock you out sometimes, and you need to be careful of that. Like that was some new shit for me that I had never experienced really.
Sky's mad at you and it's throwing baseball-sized pieces of ice at your face.
Like that thing just messed your car up, and there's nothing you could there's nobody you can go get angry at about it.
No.
Like, what?
Well, in Kansas, what the thing is that you wait until you get a big hailstorm to get a new roof. You don't buy new roofs. You just wait for a hailstorm. And then you get a roof.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, we just got alligators and hurricanes down here. It's about it. Lots of old people.
Nah, we got old people too. But we've had a lot of rain. Lots of rain yesterday. But what I was
this week been more so than all the normally the summers are pretty wet here, and this has been a peculiar. It's been a very peculiar summer, as things have been very dry. So
yeah. It's been pretty wet here. Billy's in Florida.
Yes.
He's in the ass crack of the United States.
Yes. The ground zero for the coronavirus too, by the way, guys.
Yep. Billy is not a Florida man. No, I mean, he lives in Florida, but I don't classify him as a Florida man because he's not.
I spend a lot of time.
He doesn't lack brain cells. So. He doesn't lack brain cells.
Well, that's debatable, Moltar, but I get by.
You've removed them yourself.
Fair, very fair. Very fair.
That's where we'll go with that.
Yeah.
So Chew's able to put it down, which means ECV56 takes round 1. They took it. And there wasn't really a moment that swung that fight in either direction because it was pretty even. up until the very end. Very even up until the very end.
I'm in Tampa, Florida there to answer your question. Sorry.
Maybe it was when Praetorian ripped his own wing off. Maybe that was the.
Could have been.
Well, that obviously was the turning point because, because he flew for ECV56. So I don't really know, but it doesn't matter because ECV56 takes it 1-0, and we're going to round 2 with them up 1-0. How's it gonna go?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know nothing about this one. Haven't looked at the page.
I don't know anything about it either. But we got Hype Train video coming at you while I get round 2 set up. So enjoy it. Beware the Mirage. Here we go again. So, Billy, you were just saying that there's something going on with the F-15 that I haven't heard anything about.
So I was, doing a little work last night on the computer, and I click on Facebook, and sure enough, I see a post from Razbam with a bunch of F-15 images. And I started freaking out. I thought it was the new F-15 model. Apparently, after reading a bit more, they use the AI model just to convey some confirmed weapons. But it did look like we now have confirmed the AIM-9X, AIM-120C, looked like a JSOW, sniper pod, a lightning navigation pod was on there. Like I said, a couple different variations of the GBU. Trying to think of what else. Let me pull the image up quick and make sure I'm not forgetting anything juicy. But nevertheless, obviously, it would be a lot cooler if we had seen actual images of their model. But I know they're still working on a lot of that stuff. But yeah, let's see. JSOWs, AIM-9Xs, GBUs. Yeah, I think I covered the most of it. Got a cool one of the gun firing and stuff. Yeah, I'm excited for that. That's going to be a fun time. Strike Eagle is quite a unique.
Can you post a link? Can you post a link to that in chat?
Yep. And I'm Nightbot not going to get mad at me now for that, which is kind of nice.
Gave you mod.
There it is.
Mod privileges. Billy is special.
Yep. So I'll try
he's
not
a
to
special
abuse
man.
that.
No penises, please.
Yes. No penis. No Rick
no
rolls.
phallic objects.
no penises. No Rick rolls.
That reminds me of a little bit of a thing that happened. I went to visit my brother in Seattle last year, and while we were there, we went to the Air Museum that's there, next to the Boeing plant that's up there,
Aviation
where all
City,
the
Seattle.
737 Maxes are sitting. Anyway, we're in there, and there's an old MiG in there, and I walk up to me like, "Let's go check out the faggot." And he's like, "What? You can't say that."
that I believe, was that the NATO? Is that the NATO?
Yeah,
call
that's
sign?
the NATO call sign for it. It's like, that's what it's called. And he's like, you can't say that here. Don't say that.
I actually believe one of the most pristine MiGs in most pristine condition was Paul Allen's MiG, which I believe was in Seattle for quite some time. It was an interesting story. He bought that MiG and they refurbished it, I believe, at an aviation company in Seattle. And then they had to go do the test flight, and they talked about the process of test flying, a civilian MiG and all the different, they had to contact all the different military installations in the area and be like, hey, listen, there's going to be a MiG-29 taking off. Please don't respond to us, and so on and so forth.
No.
So pretty cool to be like, hey, I'm gonna go take my MiG I just refurbished up and test her out.
Please don't shoot me.
Please don't kill me.
Please.
But
promise
I don't know if
I'm not an
anyone's ever
enemy.
seen that MiG. It is in. I mean, it just looks absolutely mint condition. Not sure what happened. I know Paul Allen passed away not that long ago. I'm curious where that MiG ended up. I'm gonna assume a museum, considering the condition it was in.
Yeah, there was some the coolest plane there was obviously the A-12.
Yes.
That was there.
Yeah, which I think that's the only one on display is the one in Seattle.
I don't know.
There's not many of those, so I can't imagine there's too many on display, period. I would thought that the one in Seattle was the only actual A-12 you could. I've seen the SR-71 at Udvar-Hazy in DC, which for those who haven't checked out Udvar-Hazy, easily one of the coolest aviation museums. I think I've been 4 times now, and I think I've barely scratched the surface on that place. But yeah, aviation museums in general, man, such a good time, dude. I always love checking that stuff out.
I do too. Mr. E says DCS World Events website schedule is confusing as hell. It shows that the match between Harpia and ECV56 was supposed to be earlier in June. Well, or July. Yes. So that is when they actually are scheduled to fly. That is not the stream schedule. The stream schedule, there really isn't one. I just kind of tell you after the stream who's going to be flying next, and you guys just kind of get what's coming. So where we are right now with ECV56 and Harpia, the next match is just going to be the next one in chronological date order. And it's mixed between... I guess we're not streaming Diamond League yet. So the next one is just going to be the next one in the date list on the Gold League schedule. So you'll know who's flying. Just try not to pay attention to who wins and who loses. All right, Billy, I'm throwing this out here. What do you think Harpia has to do?
Well, having only caught the latter half of that first match, and with the absence of attack view, I only have so much information to go off of. But what I did see at the end of that last match was some pretty hard fighting from both sides. I think we saw a pretty big momentum shift, as I pointed out in that last one there. So I think this could be either team's match, really, at the end of the day. I'm going to go to the airframes now, just based on a lack of knowledge on the pilots. And, I feel like there is definitely a wide mix of airframes here.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm inclined to go more towards ECV, but tough choice here. I think this one is really one that could go either direction.
Oh, I thought we were going to see the F-14 start to taxi. Praetorian. I saw him move, and then the plane rocked back. Looks like the Rio's doing something. I can see him moving around in the back seat. Maybe they're making sure the wings were pulled back so they could get out of their hidey hole.
Pulling out of the hardened shelter with your wings extended is a certified way to have a bad time.
That is true. That'd be a bad time. Your crew chief may be very mad at you.
I know some of those Bandara boss spawns.
We're back.
Back in the flesh.
Sorry. OBS decided it didn't like me. Don't know what that was about. I may have to switch to to OBS Studio or something because it keeps happening. I don't know why. OBS just is having problems with something. Not entirely sure what. But we got it fixed quickly. Didn't take us very long to get that all fixed up. OBS yelled at me and said, "Oh, you lost connection." I had to install a new router, so not only did your internet go down, my internet went down last night, and I don't know if I'm having QoS issues where I'm using too much. My router's like, he's using too much bandwidth. Screw him.
Rattle him.
I don't know.
Yeah, I had a guy hit the power pole outside my house a few weeks ago, and I ended up being without power for like 12 or 14 hours or some stupid crap. And I think they messed up a bunch of stuff with the ISP in the process. And I think they did a little ad hoc fix, and then they came out this morning to like do the full repairs. And yeah, not fun. Never fun when you lose power or internet, let alone power. That's
well, my family, because I had to go 30 minutes away to get a new router. My wife was calling me while she was trying to corral the kids and stuff, and she said it was pandemonium. Someone's like, "I'm poor, I don't have anything to do." Oh,
you realize how dependent on the electronics and the internet you become.
Mm-hmm.
I ended up reading, but I mean that's about the only thing I could figure out to do.
True. All right, guys, we haven't done something in a while, which is turn things up and let you guys listen to this roar and sound of these engines as they depart. So we're gonna do that. I'm gonna shut up. We'll be back in a few minutes. We just take in the glory. That is all the thrust. In thrust we trust. Here we go. So is sound really breaking? Is it dying? Do I need to restart? God, I'm this is really frustrating. Oh, is the jet engine sounds? Okay. Well, I restarted. It pulses. Well, just because the music's fine doesn't necessarily mean that everything's fine. We can get crackling on some stuff and not on others, so it could be the game volume. I'm going to have to go back and listen to the stream and see if that's what it is. If it is, I'm just going to have to order some cheap DACs and route some stuff because these virtual audio cables are killing me. Well, hopefully the jet sounds are fixed.
They do have their limitations, I think, at the end of the day, right? Although you probably know that a little bit better than
the virtual audio cables and stuff.
Yeah,
they do. I'm gonna try and
they solve a lot of. They can like help you in a jam, real like they definitely are good stuff. But I think it's got some limitations to what you can do with it,
right? Captain Cleveland, I did do a audio mix, analog mixer. It just gets really expensive and hard to manage on the fly when you only have 2 arms. So when I'm trying to do the cables and the audio and everything and volume manage everything, it's just having things digital makes it a lot easier.
Have you thought about trying to add extra arms?
You know, I could go to Chernobyl.
I mean, frankly, do you care about the chat? Because I think if you care about the chat, you do that, you know? Just saying.
Yeah, chat above my family, obviously.
Right, obviously.
Duh.
I mean, I'm down to take a trip to Chernobyl for SATAL. Let's do it.
Yeah, we should.
There's some flankers over there. We could maybe sitting out in a field we can go look at, get some photos of or something.
You know, yeah, probably ones that nobody wants because they're highly irradiated. Maybe we can bring them home.
I mean, we'll figure it out. Get a containment facility or something for that. I don't know. We'll figure it out. I'm sure there's some
probably get shot by some Russian out there.
Yeah, I mean, there's plenty of movies where kids go out to Chernobyl and things go well, right? I think there's like easily like 7 or 8 horror movies that depict that where everything goes great, everyone makes it home all right, and nobody has any.
Well, they usually make it home, but it depends on what you mean by all right. I mean, if Pieces is all right with you, then I'm fine.
I mean, the HBO documentary surely made it look interesting. Give it that. Right?
It did. It did.
Trigger find a COVID-11. That's good stuff.
If you guys are just joining us, ECV56 is currently up 1-0 over Harpia in a pretty close match there in round 1. Chu was the only one for ECV56 that made it back. Derby and Praetorian were the last 2 in an engagement. So it was Derby, I think, is in a 16. No, Derby's in a 15 and was in a head-on incursion with ECV56's Praetorian in an F14. Praetorian ends up putting an AIM-9 into Derby's face, but then I think Praetorian got a little anxious and overg his aircraft and ripped his wings off. So that's how the round ended, and Chu was able to RTB back to Guadada. We've since switched sides. So ECV56 was at Krimsk, and Harpia was at Guadada. Have to see if Harpia is able to make changes in this round to put themselves on top. I don't know. That last round was so close. I don't know. What is that 120? What is that?
Wait, what?
And the ST-10. 35 miles. That's not going to work.
Yeah, that seems a little excessive there. An SD10, you know, they updated the speeds on that thing and the battery life. I think when it first came out, you could maybe try to pull some stuff off like that, maybe. But I think now, at this point, where that thing's kind of been brought back to earth a little bit,
yeah,
no pun intended there, I think that might be a little bit beyond the effective range. But, and again, you never know. Somebody might have done some testing, might know some stuff we don't.
Maybe.
We certainly wouldn't be a first.
Maybe. I don't know. AIM 54 now coming from Praetorian from over 40 miles. I think that's on Derby. And Guys, I saw Derby dump a bunch of chaff on a 35-mile AIM-120B shot or SD-10 shot. You don't need to do that.
Yeah, you don't. You don't.
Save that chaff. I understand that the F-15 is like a supermarket full of countermeasures, but you don't need to waste that chaff.
So true. It carries a lot.
It does.
And again, can you ever have enough countermeasures? The answer to that question is no.
You can never have enough flares. It's like when I fly my F-16, I'm rocking typically 90 flares and 30 chaff.
Well, yeah, it depends on what you're doing, right? Like if I know I'm not going to be getting low into those mountains there or something like that, or I'm going to be avoiding, you know, WVR contact, I'm going to probably do the opposite. But if I know I'm getting in those mountains, or I'm going to be getting low, I'm going to be getting down and dirty, yeah, you're right. Doubling up on the flares is that way you don't feel as conscious in those moments where you know you need to put out flares, but you don't see a threat. You know, sometimes you get a little, you know, economical, and you're like, well,
I just like to cut Billy off and say that he doesn't feel conscious when he puts out. So those were his words.
Yes, I think they were. And yes, I you done tied me up on that one. Pun intended there. That one was intended.
I mean...
Nevertheless, you know, it makes you feel a little bit more comfortable just dumping those random flares. In those
for
moments
sure.
Where you probably should be, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and you do want to have more countermeasures because you can't change the countermeasure deployments on any of the FC3 aircraft. I think it's 2 per push, so you want more because you're going to be dumping 2 each time. Like I've got macros on mine on the F-16 for my countermeasures where it's slow, so I dump 1 chaff every couple seconds, so I'm able to make those 30 chaff last a long time. The flares obviously dump a lot more because usually my flares are my oh shit button. I need more to dump a lot, otherwise I die. But the chaff, I'm able to make those 30 last a significant amount of time. And I can press it faster if I need more deployments. But
I think I enjoy spoofing an IR shot with that you see, you know, you visually see it, you roll and you flare and you defeat it. It's one of the most satisfying feelings in DCS when you visually acquire someone shooting at you and defeat it. I don't know. It's almost to me better than getting a kill in some cases. Doesn't happen often. It's one of those rare things, and you get that super satisfying feeling afterwards.
Fortinero and Trigger may be headed for a head-on incursion. We're riding along now with Trigger. I don't see Fortinero out there, and Praetorian... Is Praetorian dead? No, he's just way to the north. But Trigger may be in trouble. So if we flip back to the map, Trigger is getting really close to Praetorian. He's inside 20 miles, and Praetorian's got the boomsticks, and we can see one of them coming off his aircraft now. Those long-range boomsticks, there it goes. Telephone pole-sized missile launching into the atmosphere, and it takes off heading towards Trigger. So Trigger is still pretty high. I'm worried for Trigger's safety here. Trigger, we can see the missile coming. It's a coming. It's like the Jaws thing. Oh, it's not. Why did you no launch on Trigger? Why did you launch on Maz? That was perfect. Anyway, I guess Trigger is still home safe for the time being. He's getting really close to his adversaries, and he's at 24,000 feet. Still close. He's inside 10 miles from somebody. Now he's got a 120 coming in from low to high. That was launched by Chu. You can see it 9 miles away now. Actually, it's 4 miles. 3 miles. And Trigger's still high. 2 miles. This is going to be close. No, it's not. Trigger just doing really well at bleeding those missiles out of energy. Doing really, really well about making sure those don't think hit him.
Indeed. That's some pretty top-notch evasion right there.
Now, Brand, I took the Geladeria, or refrigerator, and my brain read that as gladiatorial refrigerator when you're talking about the AIM-54. So maybe that's just what we call them now. Gladiatorial refrigerators. They don't look anything like refrigerators. Maybe a water heater.
Oh, okay. Or like a water filter. Like water filters are really slim like that, you know?
But are they that big?
I've seen a few large water filters in my day.
Interesting.
I don't know how tall AIM-54 is standing up next to myself.
Chat, can anybody research that for it? How big is an AIM-54?
Yeah, it's the length.
I need its length.
Let's take
and
guesses. I'm gonna say 5.5 feet. No,
that thing's like. I think
feet.
it's like 9 feet.
9 feet? No,
Yeah.
I think it's 5.5.
Yeah.
5.5.
I'm saying 9 feet.
Okay,
But it's not all about the length. I mean, we got to know the girth. She a girthy boy? Because the length isn't necessarily all of the feeling. A lot of times it's the girth that helps out.
Indeed.
Borchi says 13 feet.
13 by 3. Damn. That's
Dang.
huge.
That is that puts in perspective. The Tomcat's over 50 feet long.
Damn.
Tomcat's a big boy. She a big boy.
So deceiving like that.
135 pounds. I feel like it probably weighs more than 135 pounds.
It feels like it should weigh more than 135.
Jazzy says it weighs 1,000 pounds. That sounds better.
The warhead weighs 135, so it is 135 explosive.
I see.
Yes.
Let's compare that to the AIM-9. How big is the AIM-9's warhead? It's got to be
Not
like
big.
small.
Not big.
Because I remember reading, what's his name's book?
Gotta love.
I don't remember.
A warhead weighs 20 pounds. 20.8 to be precise. 9.4 kilograms.
I don't remember his name. But he was saying the AIM-9's warhead is just because it was the same warhead that's on the Shrike, and it's just a pitiful warhead.
Well, no, I think it's the sidearm and the 9. The sidearm and the 9 are the same.
No, I think the Shrike is the same.
The Shrike is the same 7. The Shrike was the AIM-7 taken, swapped out for an anti-radiation head. Same with the 9, and then that's where we got the Harm, which is like a dedicated anti-radiation platform, I believe. Sometime.
Break. We got a possible incursion coming between Fortinero and Trigger. SD10 coming in on Trigger. Trigger. Where's that SD10? There it is. He gets, masterful work coming by Trigger. Gets away from that one. Just no problems getting away from any of these. And his ER flies harmlessly through as he unsupports it. But now, Trigger, this is what I was waiting for earlier. You can see it out there a ways. Still, this is an AIM-54 coming in, and I don't know that he gets away from this. I don't think there's getting away from this bad boy. Let's go to split screen. Well, maybe not. 1,100 knots. Trigger's flying at 400 knots. Probably doesn't have the Pitbull warning. And now that AIM-54 is just bleeding all kinds of energy. Oh, it's already down to 500 knots. Nope. Not going to happen. Not going to catch him.
At that point.
Yep. That's not going to work.
One
man.
thing has cost as much as a decent house. Oh, that's hilarious.
That's more than what a lot of people would say is a decent house.
I was going to say that.
Borchieri, are we being told into your financial situation? 120 launched from Gandalf onto Derby. Derby, I don't think is going to have any problem with that because we see Derby is really low. You can see Gandalf out there in the distance. Yeah, that missile's not going to be able to be doing anything. And Derby, for a big part of that, was over Mach 1. And if we look now back at the map, that missile got line of sighted and is trashed. Back to the map. 120 being launched by Maz onto Chew. Trigger has recommitted back in and is now coming headlong into Fortinero Chew. And Praetorian is now up to the north. So we've got a possible 4v2 coming here. Harpia is getting a little separated. A little worried about that. What does Praetorian have left on his aircraft? What is left for Praetorian? What does he have left? Praetorian has 1 Phoenix and 4 AIM-9s. I think if Praetorian would have the second Not the last shot, but the shot before we saw on stream. If he would have shot that at Trigger, Trigger would have been in a lot worse position than he was on the one that he actually had to defend. So Praetorian's now leading the way for ECV56 here at 20,000 feet, 400 knots. And now he may be breaking away. Or is he's turning in on Darby. So you can see here, Praetorian is now head-to-head against Derby. Derby is at 1,000 feet. And there goes the AIM-54. So you can see Derby from Praetorian's perspective out there at 10 miles. And is this AIM-54 going to have any more luck in tracking down its target than we've seen in the past AIM-54s? I think it's going to have more juice, Billy. This one's still got some juice here. She's still got some pep in her step. 1,500 knots, 3 miles to go. If we look at Derby's perspective, 2 miles behind him. And the AIM-54, from its perspective, is now 1 mile behind him. Is it going to reach? Is it going to reach? It's going to be close. It's going to... No, it didn't work. That last bank turn. The last bank turn was what did it in. If he didn't make that bank turn, that Phoenix was going to touch him in the no-no place. Now Derby's coming in against Gandalf and Fortinero. Fortinero is head-on in a 1v1 situation. Derby is a decent... they're about co-altitude now. Both Fortinero and Gandalf have now turned cold and have no mutual support from their other guys, their other two companions of Chew and Praetorian. Trigger is now coming in for Harpia, pressing on the 2 ship from ECV56. And finally, we see Praetorian and Chew getting back into it, but Praetorian launched his last AIM-54. So we're going round and round here. Nothing really happening. Nobody wanting to commit, Billy. I've noticed a lot more standoffishness in this, even comparing to last year. And the only thing we changed weapon-wise from last year this year is 2 more 120s and an increase of two Phoenixes. But now Gandalf is... he may eat this ET. He may eat this, but he's dumping some flares. Where's that ET? There it goes. Danger close, so he was able to spoof it. Nowhere near fast enough to be able to out-G it, but he's able to get away from it. Those flares in that timely manner were able to get away from it. Something I will point out, though, is he has 6 AIM-9s. Count them, 6 AIM-9s on his aircraft. AIM-9 coming in against Derby. And Derby's going to have to defend. Is that on Praetorian? It's on Derby. Derby's got an SC-10 coming in against him. There it is. And boop, pokes him in the pooper, and he gets taken out. He is the first casualty, and it's Harpia losing their first. And you guys missed it because I didn't switch the camera. Bad Moltar. Sometimes I forget to push the buttons. Just sad day. I need like an auto button to be able to do this. You saw his dot disappear.
Macros?
Yeah, I don't know how I do that. I've got macros already, but I don't know how I do that to make sure I'm not missing anything.
Yeah, it's challenging.
I just got to remember. I'm doing better than I was, but I gotta remember.
Still
to
calling
switch.
it well. Sounded great.
Yeah, but Derby's dot disappeared. That's all you guys need to know. The dot went away. Harpia's down to 3. Mirage, J11, and F-16. All pilots for ECV56 are remaining. 17, 14, 15, and 18. Harpia's brand is now seems to be getting his game on, flying low in his Mirage. I have not seen the Mirage shoot anything yet. Nothing has come off the rails of this Mirage. Brand has been very patient. SD-10 being launched. We can see it over the hill, 5 miles away in onto Brand. That got line of sighted. Lots of chaff coming from Brand, but it's not going to do anything. There's the SD-10, and it ran into a mountain. So let's jump back and look at the map. We've now got Trigger pressing. Trigger puts an ET out. There goes the ET onto Fortinero. And Fortinero, I don't know if he gets away from this. There's the ET half mile. No, he doesn't get away from that. No flares. No flares. And wow. Wow, 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 wow. He got away from that. And you guys missed it because I didn't switch again because I'm a scrub. God, I'm a terrible person. But you guys saw Trigger get hit. Trigger gets taken down. And that, I think, was Brand. Brand now coming head on against Gandalf. There's Gandalf, 8 miles in front of him. No, it's got to be closer than that. Where is he? Should be there. There's Gandalf. Brand didn't like what he sees. He didn't get that kill. Brand still has all his weapons. Still has all of them.
Well, I think in the Mirage, you really have to be choosy about where you shoot and what you shoot at, and in the situations you shoot in, I should say. And clearly, he's been on the more conservative side here, which I think is in his best interest.
Now, Harpia is down to 2 pilots. It's a 4v2 right now, so I'm a little concerned about that. Praetorian and Chu are getting their press on, but Brand, I think, sees this F-14. So let's padlock on the F-14. This may be the first shot coming from Brand. Praetorian launches, but Praetorian gets smashed, and he loses all control. But Brand puts another one into him. And now, Moose, I'm a little worried. He's got 120s coming at him. Is he going to be able to get away from those? So Maz gets away from those just fine. But Brand is down to 2 weapons. I'm a little concerned.
Yeah,
there's not a lot of weapons left. So in total, Harpia has 4 weapons between both of their aircraft. 4. To take out 3 enemies. I mean, they do have their gun. They've only got 4 missiles left. They're doing well. They're together. I really like that they're together. Now, Maz does need to jettison his centerline tank. That would be nice. Brand's now pressing. So Brand's right here. Pressing its Fortinero. Gandalf is now recommitted up to the north. But Brand, I think, is going to be the man to watch. Brand, I think, is where things are going to happen. So Chu is up there to the north, up above at 3 miles. Is he going to pull up and into him? Does he know he's there? 120. Does he notch it? Notch that 120. He notches the 120. So he's able to get away from that danger close right there. But now, Brand's got Gandalf. Is he able to turn back in against Gandalf? Does he see him? Think Gandalf sees him. Maz is engaging Fortinero. Take a look at the map again. So Maz is engaging Fortinero, and I think I'd like to see them 2v1 somebody, but I don't think we're going to see that. And now we've got Brand taking on Chu. There goes a Matra 530, and Chu's not in a very good position to notch that. I think Chu's going to get taken out. Is this the second kill for the Mirage? No, it's not.
Ooh. He was angling.
Oh, but second 530 gets launched. We actually missed we didn't miss anything. Chu gets taken down by the second 530, but Brand is out of missiles. Brand has nothing left except his gun. He's got that, what is it, a 30 mil?
I believe so.
So now he's coming in. 120 getting launched at him from Gandalf. That gets line of sighted. Brand's now over Mach 1. Maz was able to take down whoever was up to the north. So it's now a 2v1 Harpia up. So Harpia was down 4 pilots to 2 and it's completely reversed the tables here. Just totally reversed everything.
Loving this Mirage. Getting in the mix and being fairly dominant in this match. This is impressive flying by that Mirage pilot. No doubt
it is.
about
It is. Now Brand is mano-y-mano against Gandalf in his 18. Something I will say, though, is Gandalf has all the missiles. He's got like 6 AIM-9s left. Does Brand know that's coming? He doesn't. Oh, but it falls behind him. So Brand is able to outrun these missiles. Does he outrun the next one?
Whoa.
1 mile.
He's really...
He outruns that one, too. So just they're barely not able to reach out and touch him.
Now, this is where the fuel is going to come into play because we're low here. We're burning fuel at a very high rate right now. Fuel flow is high. These guys are really working these jets to try to stay in position on each other. I'm going to guess the Mirage with the smaller fuel tank here is going to be the one to need to make the move and reverse this situation far sooner than the Hornet does, as he's kind of in the driver's seat on this whole fight right now. But right here, using that mountain, he just took himself.
He line of sighted him. He line of sighted him and got behind him.
Behind him again, and does he see him? Look at this. Here's the Mirage now reversing the situation. Does not look like the Hornet pilot has seen that Mirage as he passed over that hill. And here we go. That Mirage now angling back in position.
I don't think he sees him.
He doesn't. He just straight lost him. He's trying to wait for the data link probably to return, and it looks like he just now is getting.
Well, the Mirage doesn't have data link. He's going to have calls from the AI AWACS.
He's waiting for that Mirage to
okay.
back up, and that's why he was staying flat and level and looking, I would assume. Now you could see the quick maneuver there where I assume he popped back up on the sensors. That Mirage really needed to get that nose around a little quicker there. I don't know if he realized the opportunity he had on that Hornet not seeing it.
Yeah.
But great maneuver to clean the situation and
very true.
Remove yourself from some sensors there.
And now it's
some time and space.
Now it's Gandalf running back in the driver's seat. He's head on, but I don't think he sees Brand in the Mirage.
I'm not sure who sees who. I'm going to assume that Brand has padlocked.
Oh, he does now. I think they see each other now. They're coming head on. And remember, Gandalf has the missile advantage. He needs to jettison his centerline tank, but I see at least 2 AIM-9s. Brand, though, I think is in a much better position, positional-wise, to be able to control this merge. Maz is nowhere to be seen. He's still, I think, 5 miles away, and I don't think Maz has any AIM-120s left. I think he expended those on his last kill, but now Brand is totally in the driver's seat, above and behind Gandalf, and I don't think Gandalf knows where he is.
The loss of SA here by Gandalf and that Hornet has been critical in this fight, and we've seen him lose advantage definitely once, maybe even twice there with how that shook up. I saw probably at least one or two that I think if he had seen him, he had a pretty decent solution. He was in parameters, but I would really want to look at the TAC view to know for sure on that. Although this Mirage pilot being very, very good here, maneuvering into close distance.
I really like that Brand is using the vertical in order to make sure that he doesn't overshoot Gandalf. So you saw right there was a prime example of he felt like he was too fast, but he transitioned that airspeed into the vertical to elongate his flight path and to possibly bleed some energy, but it allowed him to stay behind Gandalf without sacrificing all of his energy in order to stay on his 6 o'clock.
I'm going to guess Gandalf has figured out at this point that the Mirage has no missiles left, because as a Hornet pilot, if I see this guy on my 6 in that position, I should have been shot with an IR by now. If he hasn't shot, he doesn't have anything. So I know right now I just need to stay out of guns. He doesn't have a lot of bullets. I got to make him miss, which is Gandalf doing a very good job of luring in this Mirage right now and trying to bait him in on these shots. Very important for Brand to utilize the few rounds he has very effectively here.
I think that's it. That was a perfect opportunity, but Brand not able to connect. But the second one, Gandalf recommits and turns right back in front of Brand's nose, and that is a big no-no. That is something that you don't do. Do not turn back across somebody's nose because you solve all of the geometry for your opposition. They don't have to pull G.
You create a bigger target, too. You're flat and maneuvering like that. When you turn into it, you just made a small target a much larger target. And at that point, it's not hard to miss when you come pancaked across somebody's HUD like that. So that definitely a good observation there. That quick turn and tried to reverse the situation on Gandalf's part there may have ended up being his demise. I think if he had just kept trying to shake him, he'd have run him out of guns and would have been able to do what he wanted to do at that
Now, my question, did Maz ran out of fuel. So Brand was the only one left. So Maz, when he went up to take out his adversary with the 120 that we didn't see, he actually ran out of fuel, and now it's down to the Mirage, who's climbing. So I'm going to assume that Brand's getting decently low on fuel there. I mean, you expel a decent amount of fuel or resource when you get into those types of scenarios.
And they were very fast, very low for at least 2 to 3 minutes there. I mean, they burned quite a bit of fuel in that period of time. Now, granted, I think the Mirage had been fairly conservative on its throttle use from what I saw.
Yeah, I didn't see him in gate. He came out of gate quite a bit.
When you were showing him early on, he was not. I very rarely did I see him in gate when I didn't look like he should have been in gate. So I'm going to assume he did a good job managing.
Something to point out is that to stay up with a Hornet low altitude, you really don't have to do a whole lot. They're not very. I mean, they're faster, I think, than they should be. But he had all of his racks on. He had a center line tank, so he was probably pulling a hefty amount of drag. So Brand, more than likely, had a pretty easy time, even in mill power, keeping up with him.
Fair, very fair. Yep, even low like that. Yeah, no doubt. So Brand now doing what he needs to do to get that plane up in altitude and get himself point out. How far is he from? Where is it? Guadada? Or am I?
Yeah, it's gonna be Guadada. So let's take a look at that. He is 87 miles.
Pardon me for 10 seconds here. I gotta step away.
So 87 miles. He needs to get within 45 to be able to glide effectively. He's already at 33,000 feet, so he's going to get much better fuel efficiency up here. Is he in gate? He's not in gate. He's in full mill. So I think he's going to be okay. Full mill, indicated airspeed 303 knots at 34,000 feet. He's going to be fine. He'll be fine. Captain Cleveland, the set score currently is 1-1. I don't have the scoreboard up because something was going on with it. Numbers weren't right, so we're not looking at it right now. Kurtzaka, maybe, but, Brand's not a bad pilot. So, a lot of times it comes down to the pilot, not necessarily the aircraft. Brand did a decent job of not overshooting. There was an opportunity there for Gandalf to gain an advantage. I mean, he forced the overshoot from Brand, but he just stayed defensive. He didn't try and really pull around and get Brand 6. I think that was his downfall. That was really something that could have been capitalized on by Gandalf. Well, Croc, isn't that how it always goes, though, right? People are going to make mistakes. It's just about if you're able to capitalize on them or not.
I mean, the genesis of what we do here is not making mistakes, right? The whole part of what you're doing up there is trying to force the other guy to do that. So, I mean, it's going to be part of what we see here, I think, no matter how you look at it.
Well, I'm sure that was a hugely stressful situation, being the last pilot remaining for your team. You've got an enemy plane on your 6. You know he has no missiles left. You're fighting for your life, trying to jink. You're maybe almost running out of fuel, so you're trying to say, if I'm able to get him off, am I going to be out of fuel? Am I going to be able to win the match if I am able to get him off? I mean, bajillion things are going through your mind, and you've got somebody on your ass trying to kill you.
And I think, too, when it comes to decision-making like that, it's not a problem unless you see somebody doing it on a repetitive basis, especially when it comes to dogfighting and stuff. If you see a bad maneuver, a bad mistake more than once, it's worth pointing out to somebody, I think, in a lot of cases, right? But I think sometimes, you just end up pulling the wrong maneuver, in the moment that is. But I think it's when you see consistently the same decision-making process taking place, it's really worth it.
I'm not saying you're wrong, and I'm not coming down on you at all. You just did a lot of things to consider. Hawaiian shirts. I do not own a Hawaiian shirt, Billy.
I actually picked up a few not long ago. I wouldn't. I don't know. I know it's a hot button issue these days. I didn't realize that until after picking it up. But Apparently, Hawaiian shirts are a thing these days.
I have never owned one, ever, in
I
my
got
life.
mine are kind of military themed. One has a Arleigh Burke class shooting a cruise missile off on it, like kind of silhouetted. It's more not really Hawaiian, but military Hawaiian, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Hawk, that's a good point. I mean, hindsight's always 2020. We see everything. These guys, you know, probably was at a SA disadvantage. Granted, the Mirage doesn't have data link, but we don't know. I don't know, but all I can say is well flown by Brand. Enough critiquing. Well flown by Brand. He was able to capitalize on it, and if he's able to put it down at Guadada, it looks like he's halfway through the 90 miles, so I think he's well within glide range.
I was surprised we didn't see Gandalf pull full alpha and go with all those nines. I would have assumed there was a few points where it looked like he had very good position to just pull that nose, get into position, and try to crank one of those nines off. Now, granted, I think a lot of people here, you forget that there's no 9Xs here, so that he has to pull basically into bore sight to get that missile into range. So it is definitely more of a challenging thing to do with the 9. Probably a little bit more of a gamble, but it still felt like there was at least one or two situations there where he could have possibly pulled that off. But I'm questioning.
Quantum note: the 9X is banned in both weapon restrictions. It's only the 9M. Did Brand get 3 kills? Yes, he did get 3 kills. He got 3 of the 4 kills. So he killed Praetorian in the Tomcat. He killed the F-16. Then, I don't remember who was flying the F-16. And then he killed Gandalf in the 18. Fourth ran out of fuel?
Yeah.
Did he run out of fuel? Or did Maz kill him?
I thought we said 1 ran out of fuel, right?
Well, the Maz for Harpia ran out of fuel. I don't know. I'm pretty sure Maz ran out of fuel. Heberth says Maz got him. Okay. That makes sense. Can we see Guadada yet? I can see Guadada, so he's almost home. He's at 40,000 feet, 277 knots indicated. He's fine.
Solid points by Gordo there too. Those guys who know how to use that. I really feel like today in DCS there's like 2 Mirage pods. There's someone who's like just got the Mirage, or there's someone who has the Mirage and is very tactical with how they use it. At least when you come into the PvP world, right? There's not a lot of in between. I feel like with the Mirage these days, it's either somebody who really doesn't understand the limitations of it, or somebody who knows it far too well for everybody else's own good in the server. And those guys are dangerous.
Maz says he ran out of fuel after killing the JF-17. Okay, that's what I figured happened, Maz. Krotaka says if he had a 120, that would have been different. That's very true. So let's talk weapons management. If he would have had a 120, guys, Brand would have been dead.
Yeah.
He was inside 2 miles, firing AIM-9s at him. If he would have had a 120, 6.
And there you go right there. And it's difficult managing the loadout here with something that can be challenging, and it can lead you in, I think, directions like we saw him take there with his choice. But I still think you're going to want to take as many 9s as you could, because that means he took 4 9s and 6. I'm sorry, 6 9s and 4 in 120.
No, you could take 6. You could take 6 and 6.
6 and 6. Okay, so I guess nevertheless, with that being said, it wasn't like he could have taken more and didn't. But however, he probably should have been a little bit more conservative with his 120 shots. Maybe try. I think when you're taking 9s like that, those head-on 9 shots, man, especially with track wall scan. Really can't you gotta kind of give those a thought in those situations, because I think just the way the flankers kind of can pull that stuff off, the 18 has the same capability, I think, with a 9.
Well, and something else to consider when you're taking that number of missiles, you're greatly restricting your energy that you can gain and maintain without being in gate or high engine power setting. So I really think fuel was a problem for Gandalf. Because when you start hanging all those pylons and racks off your wings, it goes to shit. So what I would have liked to see is a 6 and 2, or a 6 2-2, like if you take 2 AIM-7s, use the 2 AIM-7s early as faux 120s and then jettison those racks. That's what I would have liked to see. But 6 AIM-9s, I just don't think they're going to be very effective. And also it came back to, we're talking about weapons management. If he would have saved a 120, the odds of Brand being able to notch from that range are not very good.
No, not at all. Not at all. It's a solid
Captain Cleveland asks, is there an airframe that you think is superior in SATAL? What's the meta? I think the F-15 is still the best.
For SATAL?
Yeah, I think the F-15s. With a good pilot, because you can get so fast, it's instant IFF ability, it's RWR, how the radar works, its ability to pull massive amounts of G, its huge amounts of countermeasures that it can carry. I still think it's the best. But a Mark 60 Tomcat's still pretty high up there.
You're not managing a full fidelity jet in that thing. I mean, when you talk about the workload on the pilot, it's negligible in comparison. So you have a lot more time to worry about other things in that thing than you do in some of these other jets where there's a little bit more managing going on and more, just look at how simple the F-15's radar is in its use in comparison to say something like the Hornet or the F-18 or the even the Mirage, right? I mean, there's just a lot more complexity going on with that system. So I think when you factor in how much more the pilot in the 15 or the FC3 aircraft can focus on the fight at hand and the environment around them. Granted, it doesn't have the SA ability some of these other craft do, but I think it allows you to focus on generating that SA yourself a little bit
I think when you get into the merge is when it really starts to shine.
Agreed.
In those situations. Now, the F-16 I think is also very, very capable, but you have a limit. All of them are really capable, but they all have their advantages and disadvantages. I'd just say the F-15, maybe by a slight margin, is probably still the best. We haven't seen a lot of them, though. And
quick message to ED. I'd love to see the harm and the harm targeting system for the 16, but please fix the dogfight mode before we get to that. It is so much more desperately needed in that thing right now in comparison to something like that. I love the harm probably more than most people. I love wild weaseling obviously quite a bit, and I'm really looking forward to having all that stuff in there. But the level of frustration that mounts from that F-16 dogfight mode right now is borderline unacceptable. So I'd really like to see that whole thing get revisited.
That would be nice if we had that.
Single player. It's just good luck using it in multiplayer.
Yeah, I don't even use it.
It's if you try to, you're just ending up introducing more problems than you're solving.
Yeah, but guys, Maz I think just pointed out that Brand ran out of fuel when he landed.
Ooh, just made it.
And running out of fuel when you land is not good. I mean, it's a lot easier when you're just gliding and you don't have an engine. But running out of fuel when you're trying to do some like flare or something at the end, man, that can result in some unfortunate results. So we're here, tied up, 1 round apiece between Harpia and ECV56. Fan video or supercut coming at you while I get the next round set up. But round 3, the all-crucial round 3, and these guys have been pretty even. Both rounds, one guy has made it back. Both rounds, one guy has made it home. How's this next one going to play out? Go get a drink. Say hello to the significant other if you have one. Say hello to the kids. Make sure they know you're not ignoring them because we're too awesome. But third round, the conclusion of this exciting match, coming at you.
What's up, Jump?
Just a few moments. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here, round 3 between Harpia and ECV56. These guys are sitting on the runway. We are riding along or checking out Harpia up here at Krimsk. We're waiting on Trigger in his J11. We can see him way out in the distance in his bungalow. Not sure what he's waiting on. Maybe he doesn't have enough vodka. Crew chief forgot to bring him that this morning. We all know the Russian pilots need their vodka to get going. Gordo B dropping another 5 gifted subs. Much appreciated, brother. Southern Jumper drops 200 bits. Thank you very much. Gordo B had another gifted sub earlier, so welcome to everybody that is just joining us with your subs. Quick shout-outs, or not shout-outs, but information. If you guys have TacView Advanced or are thinking about buying it, buy it, because you can watch real-time telemetry with these streams. So if you type !TacView in chat, it'll give you the IP and the port, and you guys can use that to connect using TacView Advanced. If you click the little globe and go to real-time telemetry, you can use that to get real-time TacView data while these matches are taking place. So if I pause or fast forward or anything like that, TacView stays with me. So you guys are able to drive your own TacView camera using real-time telemetry. So if you guys have that and you're not taking advantage of it yet, make sure you check it out. It's something that you guys need to do. And TacView Advanced, in my opinion, is well worth it. Supporting France and TacView, just do it. Just do it. But yeah, you were telling me earlier. You were telling me earlier, Billy, about we were talking a little bit about Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020. We won't go into that because I know you're behind an NDA. But I think the new Thrustmaster Airbus thing's going to make a lot of people happy. I didn't know you had like detachable buttons and stuff that you could put on.
Yeah, it's pretty modular. Which anytime something goes modular like that, you get my attention because I like customizability and all that type of stuff. So pretty cool to see. Yeah, the 2020 thing's definitely coming along. I think some NDAs. I'm not sure where I stand and all that, but I know some stuff kind of got lifted today as there's a bunch of content creators that are actually putting stuff out and all that kind of fun crap. So yeah, I think everyone's going to be pleasantly surprised with what that sim has to offer. I was saying to you earlier, if these guys get some sort of government contract, watch out ED. I think if they can figure out a way to get whatchamacallit in there, get some military aspect of things in there, it could be a real game changer.
Yeah. Thuff asks, is there any way to download the TAC for your track files? You can get them if you go to splash1gaming.com/SATAL and you click on the individual matches. There will be links that you can copy and place in your browser and download each track. So the teams are supposed to upload each of their tracks in TAC views after they complete their match that we can then use for streaming and people can go use for whatever they want. For debriefing or briefing when they do all that. So that is where that is available. Unfortunately, probably due to my own ineptitude, TacView probably wasn't running when these guys flew this match. I don't have TacView for this match, which is why we're not doing any of the TacView debriefings or anything like that. So that's why we're missing those. We're just doing the tracks, but the tracks have been awesome. We ran into some problems a few weeks ago when we were using a personal track, because the tracks for the server didn't generate, so we ended up using a personal track, and there was some desync. But the server tracks, Billy, and I think you'll agree with me, we've never had problems with them. They're always great.
For the longest time, I feel like track files were this like laughable thing within DCS, and I feel like I'm not sure when that changed, but seemingly at a certain point they figured out a lot of the problems there.
I don't know that they've always been a huge problem. They've always been a huge problem for the client. But yeah, for several years, I've used server track files.
Right.
I've never had a problem with them. And people are like, Tomcat broken. I'm like, dude, it never does anything for me. It always works great. They're always like, oh my God, Hex, you can't touch that. Stream won't work. Dude, it works fine. I don't know what you're talking about.
Good to me.
Yeah, but that's where we're at, and that's what we're looking at, is we're replaying tracks from the matches, and that allows us, I know it's not live, but it allows us to get around people not stream sniping. It allows the teams to fly whenever they're able to. It just allows a lot more flexibility. Billy and I can stream more throughout the week, So the streams are shorter. They're more condensed. Yeah, we don't get as many people because we're not streaming always on Saturday. But in all honesty, 160, I've seen almost 200 people today. Is pretty good for DCS and for a Thursday morning. We're not even prime time U.S. time, so I think it's great. I think the flexibility that streaming from tracks has allowed us to do has been fantastic. So now it looks like we're just waiting on Bran and his Mirage to depart. His engine doesn't even sound like it's on. What is he waiting on? Is it on? I hope I didn't just talk about desync and then Brand is desynced.
Tends to be the way it goes for us around here.
His engine isn't on. Oh, he's spooling up now. Yeah, I can hear it. Interesting. Interesting approach.
Did he start up and shut down?
I don't know. He's on now.
I don't think he spawns there, right?
No. I think maybe he was just conserving fuel because of what happened last time, where he ran out of fuel when he was landing. Maybe he was a little concerned there. That could have been the case. Or maybe he had to go take a poop. I mean, we all know when nature calls, man, you got to take care of it.
It calls.
And if you try and cut it off early,
that's bad news. That's bad news.
Bad news. That's bad time.
You end up with problems that way.
Bad time. All right, Billy, I ask you this every round. What does ECV56 have to do? They've done decently well. It was 1v1 in that last situation. But I think their downfall in the last round, what ended up happening, was they got caught just running away, and they couldn't effectively recommit back into the fight.
I would agree with that. I think I'd like to see a little bit more missile conservation and supporting each other a little bit more. I think they did a fairly good job there with that. I don't know, man. This has been a very evenly matched, or these rounds have been pretty evenly matched so far. So I tend to think this one's a toss-up here. Although maybe give Harpia the edge. I'm not sure. A little bit.
I think I got to get Harpia the edge because they won the last round.
It's momentum, right?
Yeah.
Jazzy
says turning point is they have to get a 54 kill. That's true. The 54, I think when you die to an aim 54, it is massively more detrimental to your team's morale than dying to any other type of weapon for some reason.
Where you're not expecting it. Like, I think, what did we see? An 8-mile kill in the first round? There was an 8-mile 54 shot in the first match. First round.
Okay, we're back. Okay. I don't know what was going on there. It lagged out. Yeah, something like that. It's demoralizing when that happens.
It really is.
It's the only weapon that I feel like, even if you get hit by a long 120, it doesn't hurt as bad as getting smacked in the face by a 54.
Well, it's just those long 54 shots always seem to come out of nowhere and catch you when you're not expecting it, and the morale effect at that point can be devastating because you're communicating, you're setting up, and then all of a sudden somebody's defending and then they're dead, and then it completely sucks the wind out of the momentum out of the push you have at that time. So you have to kind of knock that off and maneuver quickly, or regroup quickly to kind of push past something like that. That's not easy to do, I think, in these high stress situations.
No, absolutely not. But it's something you got to overcome if you want to be competitive. Or Charman says no more 35 nautical miles. What do you mean? What is you pertaining to? Gordo B dropped another gifted sub. Thank you very much, brother. And Gordo says it's 3 a.m. Gordo, you're Australian, right? You are dedicated. You are a dedicated man. Oh, Quantum was saying if they conserve their shots. That is very true. You gotta... Patience, I think, is what gets you the win. If you're able to outweight your opponent So a lot of times when I fly, let's take when I'm flying on a public server, if somebody shoots at me, I'll just wait. I'll fly headlong, maybe serpentine a little bit into their incoming missile, but I just wait. I don't shoot until I know I'm in a high PK scenario, and then I shoot. And if I have to defend before that, I don't bother to put another missile on them, because if they want to chase me, great. I can drag you back into one of my friendlies, which is exactly where I want you to be. I don't want you to shoot at something that's not going to reach out and touch you, and you just turn around and then I got to reset. It's just a waste.
Something we don't see, which I feel like when I first got into DCS was this like paramount thing we saw a lot of in SATAL, I saw a lot of in TAC views when I was first learning, is cranking. And I just don't see enough people crank these days. You see a lot of people just fly straight at the guy and shoot, and it's like, that is not what you want to be doing. You're making that other person's job a lot easier by staying dead center hot at them. If you put yourself towards the edge and you constantly, if they shoot at you, that missile needs to be working to try to get at you. It's not working that hard if it's going straight at you head on like that, especially if you're allowing it to loft in one. You know, just keeping that person you want to engage, you know, offset to the edge of your radar is going to put you on the edge of theirs in most cases. And that is a situation you want to be in. And then, you know, turn it in as you edge into the WES that you know, the distance you want to be in at that point, and not shooting until then, right? You know, don't make yourself hot until you're ready to kind of do that there.
Admiral says to just condense it all. He says he's happy, doesn't want to send any ill will against ED, but with what Microsoft Flight Simulator is doing, you know, it could be rough. But something I will say is, from what I've heard, and I've never done X-Plane or Microsoft Flight Sim or anything, is when you get those aircraft out of their normal flight envelope, the flight dynamics and some of the things those planes do is really wonky. So
that changes here. That won't be the case anymore with this, at least. I'll say that.
Okay.
Without getting myself
all right.
in trouble.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear.
I can like unequivocally say that is not the case anymore. It is a substantial difference. Just be careful there.
Okay. Yeah. We'll just leave it at that. Just leave it at that. Close, Billy. I don't think any Microsoft reps are watching my stream, so
we're getting close.
I don't think we're that big
anyway. So it is what it is. But
45-mile nautical mile separation. 45-mile nautical mile. That's a new measurement, guys. If you didn't know, the mile nautical mile. Nobody knew about it. Anyway, Praetorian in the F-14 is trailing 60 miles away from everybody. Cleveland, I'm glad we make not working better. I'm glad we don't make it worse.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Granted, you probably wouldn't watch us if we made it worse. By the way, speaking of better, my new camera comes today, Billy.
Ooh, that's right. I don't
have a lens though. That comes tomorrow.
Okay.
No lens. Got the 35 millimeter f2, and then I got that budget zoom lens. I think is what I ended up picking up.
Well, I think both of those are going to serve you pretty darn well. That could be worse, right?
It could be.
It's not like we don't already have bad luck to begin with when it comes to that. So take the streak we got right now.
Yeah. All right. OBS is back. We're good. I'm glad. So last year, whenever things would crash, it would crash when missiles were flying and people were dying and shit was going on, or I'd have my whole computer would crash or something would happen. I have to restart. And I'm just glad that, you know, knock on wood, that things are happening when nothing's really going on. So 120 was launched at Chew, but where's Chew? That's not Chew. That's Chew. So 120 was launched at Chew, but he's going to outrun that with no problem. No problemo. I do need to fix my projector so that I can see what's going on. Praetorian hasn't launched yet. It's just been a couple 120s that have been launched so far. So 120 was launched. I don't know who that's on, but that thing's only at 400 knots. So that's not going. That's not effective on anyone. Then there's just one down here on Chew, but that thing was already flown past him, and it's down to 600 knots, and Chew's at 600 knots. So that's not going to catch him either. But Praetorian, I like to see him ingressing. I'd like to see Praetorian pressing. He's got these big boomsticks. Use them. Get in there. Realize that even when they launch at you and you get that missile warning, if they've launched from far enough away, as long as you're cranking and diving, still supporting your missile, you're forcing the incoming threat to bleed energy. So just be aggressive, but also be patient. That's the thin line that you have to walk. You got to be aggressive, but be patient in your aggressiveness. And if you're able to do that, but not be too aggressive with your patience,
it's calculated,
or
right?
too patient with your aggressiveness, you end up winning. So basically, if you don't fuck up, you do it right. That's my advice to everybody. Yeah, that's what you need to do.
Score touchdowns, win games, right? I mean, that's the way it goes.
If you do it right, you win.
Yes, indeed.
Be aggressive. Be aggressive. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. And I was doing spirit fingers while that was going on, Admiral.
There was a really good video that came out on the Warzone recently. I'll see if I can't pull it up here, where there was I believe they were doing some training flights, and they were working with a new younger pilot and working through the BFM stuff. And the backseater guy is just fucking kill him, get him, just screaming at him. I mean, it is truly priceless stuff. Yeah, let me see if I can't find that video. We find ourselves saying it a lot now.
Am I 13, 15? No, we're even. So aim 54 off from Praetorian. It's not on trigger. Launch on the close bandit. Why are you launching at people far away? 14 miles, man. You got him. Make it happen. Trigger's now recommitting. We're riding along now with Praetorian as F-14. They're at about co-altitude. Praetorian, or Trigger, is actually above him. There it goes. And that may be it. That is it. That is the shot we wanted. Can I get it? That's not it. There it is. Okay. There it is. Is he going to get it? It's coming. Nah. No! Notched it. What? Trigger, the master. Man. And I'm going to call that one. The reason he was able to notch that missile was not supported. I don't know. I need to check for updates. It's doing some weird shit.
Update, yeah. I know that stuff's weird with that.
ET coming in against Praetorian. Do we see it? It's back there. It's back there, a mile back. But Praetorian's over Mach 1, but Trigger is pressing. So Trigger is being much more aggressive than he was in the previous rounds. He is way, way deep. Way, way deep. Which you guys can see here on the map. And I think he's realized now that he is way too deep. So looking at Praetorian's viewpoint, you can see Trigger back there 8 miles behind, who is just now breaking off. And I think that was another case of an unsupported aim 54. I'm going to try this without a projector. I kind of wonder if the projector's what's killing me here. Maybe. So I'm going to try without the projector and see if we end up any better. So Trigger is way separated from the rest of his team and is now being pursued by Fortinero and Ducko. I don't like that 120 shot. That's 15 miles on a Cold Bandit. That's not going to hit him. That's not going to work. It's not going to happen. I mean, maybe Trigger's being bait, but nah. I think if he wanted to be bait, he needed to stay more in a hot aspect so that it would look like he's overcommitting and turn his radar off. So he has situational awareness, but it's making it look like to the enemy that he doesn't have situational awareness. But now Fortinero may be the one in trouble. Trigger, though, he's got a 120 coming at him. Oh, that was a butt pucker moment for me, and I was just watching. I saw that boomstick fly right by the back of his aircraft, and Trigger, holy crap, did he get lucky. That was
close.
I probably should say that if there was better proximity fuses, since they do exist in DCS, but if there was better proximity fuses, he'd be dead. And if he knew that was there, crew chief would be cleaning out brown liquid from his cockpit. That was close. I thought that missile had no chance of hitting him, and that got within 10 feet of his aircraft.
That's probably the closest call of the day.
That definitely was. That was close. Well, that or the Brand when he notched the F-16's AIM-120 coming in there. That was also very, very close, where we saw it detonate right behind his aircraft. So probably pretty even. So still 4 pilots remaining for both sides. I'd like to see Praetorian more aggressive. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. But he's back there. If he could get within 10 miles while the other guys are pressing him, Trigger just die. And even if the 54 doesn't hit him, Trigger has to defend it. And it allows the other guys, and maybe Ducko with his 18 or Fortinero with his 17, it allows them to continue to press. But it's just not happening. Praetorian now is the only one that's hot. But Trigger, on the flip side, though, he's so far separated from the rest of his team. 15 miles about.
That's strange.
That's rough.
Dang one out in the wind there.
My macros aren't working either right now. Interesting. Let me try and restart my stream deck. See if we can get it. There we go. So now Trigger has regrouped. He's finally gotten back with the rest of his team. Finally. I was getting a little worried there, Billy. That was a little worrying. It was a little stressful.
Some guys can hold their own out there, but it is not easy to do. That's for sure.
No,
Definitely like seeing him get regrouped back in there.
That was rough. Okay, so Harpia has regrouped. I'm glad they have regrouped. ECV56 is regrouped. They're all together. It's like we're restarting with less weapons, is what we're seeing here. Who do you give the advantage to right now, Billy? I got to go with ECV56's positioning. They're closer for mutual support.
They seem to have a little bit more of an edge here, but it's been close. It's been very close. This is tough to call here.
Now, Flatspin says it looks like ECV's not wanting to play in the mountains. Which, their positioning, I like that they're not overcommitting. If they stay wet and stay disciplined, great. Works.
They're clearly trying to bait them out of the mountains, and they're trying to bait them into the mountains here. And I think we have here is an old-fashioned Mexican standoff here, although now it looks like we do have somebody engaging. Looks like that is a 120 getting shot by Derby. I'm not sure if that's more of a stay back thing.
Yeah, and then Maz puts a 120 out there. So jump back over here. A couple 120s just launched from a long way away, and I understand if you're trying to create a situation where maybe you're forcing somebody to do something or forcing them away from friendly support, but launching from that distance, 15 miles with a B at relatively medium altitude, it's just a waste. And you don't have that many missiles on a 16 to begin with. If you're going to do it with somebody, do it with an 18 that carries all the weapons. Trigger now is committing again. Trigger's been really, really aggressive. Really, really aggressive. So here's Trigger. Aim 120 coming in on him. You can see it get closer. 7.5 miles still to get to him. There goes an ET. Actually, it's 2 miles now. 1.5 miles. Trigger's in a bit of a pickle. I think Trigger's dead. God, Trigger has just been flirting with death repeatedly. This entire time. Things have just been getting so close to him. He waits till the last second to defend, but miraculously is able to get away from it every single time. Man. That was within 0.1 miles. Thing was close. Cat Wizard says he's the one. Yeah, he definitely may be. He definitely may be the one. Now, Ducko has a weapon coming in on him. 120 coming in, 900 knots indicated. I don't think that's going to catch him. That's the wrong guy. There we go. Here's Ducko. I don't see the weapon behind him, so I don't think that's going to be a problem. Yeah, that thing's going to be out of energy by the time it reaches him. And Billy, what I'm noticing during this round is everybody's very standoffish. I mean, look how far down here Chew is in his 16.
Well, what we have here, it's round 3. Both teams fought hard to get to this point. Nobody wants to lose this, and we're seeing teams play not to lose instead of to win. And as it's a phrase I haven't said in a long time, but it is a phrase we've heard here on SATAL before, especially when you get towards the end of the season, stakes are higher. People don't want to lose. And when you play to not want to lose, I always think you're putting yourself in a bad position. You should play to
excellent
win
point.
every single time you step out there. And that lack of aggression right now is going to cost somebody. Whoever figures out they need to be a bit more aggressive first here, I think, is going to have the upper hand.
Like, so when you play to not lose, you don't take the opportunities that are going to put you in a winning position. You just allow your opponent to get away with mistakes and you don't capitalize on them, which ends up, most of the time, contributing to your downfall.
Right. Exactly.
So now we've got Maz in his F-16. He's got a 120 coming on in him. He waited to get that 120 off, and this thing's closing fast. 2 miles now. Maz is in a split-S maneuver. 1 mile now. Don't think we're going to see a face smile, unfortunately. He's going to be able to get away from that one. Don't think there's going to be any issue with that. And Ducko on the other side is able to get away from the missile that Maz put on him in response. I was just worried in that situation that Maz, because we've seen it before, when you get a missile launched at you and then you wait to try and get a missile launched off on your opponent and you're already in a bad position, right? And you wait a substantial amount of time to be able to get a weapon off on your own, it can lead to bad outcomes, which we didn't see. Maz was able to defend in a timely manner and did it well. So he did well. I was just worried there at the beginning that we may see him wait even longer, and then right when he was about to defend, the missile would hit, and that would be unfortunate. But he did it well. He did it well, but he's still got a center line. Jettison your center line. I think they just forget that it's on there. Maybe they don't know how to get rid of it.
The military doesn't care if you don't come back with it, so you're going to want to remove that drag at any given opportunity.
I think they care if you're not in an engagement.
Well, I think drop tanks cost money, right? You know, if it doesn't mean you're going to die, you're probably going to need to keep that thing on your aircraft, right? Like life or death, those type of things, certain situations, obviously. But from what I've read, those types of things is very rare where you can just jettison a drop tank and go, you know.
Now, Praetorian is getting a really close AIM 54 launch, but I'm worried Praetorian's going to get away from that fine. Okay, so let's grab this missile. There it is. Here's the AIM-54. We're in split view, and I think Maz is going to die. It's going to come right over this hill. Is it going to make it over the hill? No. Maz did a really good job of line of sighting that. If he didn't line of sight that, he was dead. He was definitely dead. He would have been face-miled and plastered all over the trees in this valley, and that would have been unfortunate. But well done by Maz. We've been seeing some good defensive maneuvers here repeatedly, Billy, by both teams. Not making mistakes, not overcommitting into situations. They've been doing a good job of defending all types of missiles. There hasn't been really a time where we've seen somebody just fly headlong into an incoming threat.
No, not at all. That's certainly been the case today, which is definitely nice to see.
Maz has now come way back. Derby's now putting a 120 out onto, I'm going to say that's on Fortinero. But Fortinero immediately defends. So Fortinero is already defending. I think this is going to come down. This is going to come down to merges. We're already starting to run out of missiles. The JF-17 only has a single. Fortinero's JF-17 only has a single SD-10 remaining. So I don't see this long game lasting for too much longer.
Agreed.
Let's see what Praetorian's got left. Praetorian has no AIM-54s left. He needs to jettison those. Can you jettison the 14's tanks?
Yep. Oh, yeah, the Rio.
Yeah.
I don't know how easy it is with Jester, but for the Rio, it's super easy.
Yeah, and I don't know if Praetorian has a Rio or if he has Jester. I'm not sure. But the Praetorian, his F-14, has no AIM-54s left, so we're starting to get into that time of the match or the round where things are going to start getting closer. Things are going to start moving closer and closer together. And we're already starting to see that as these teams start cinching closer towards one another. The separation between these two, the front lines of both forces are starting to come together. Trigger's now head on with Duca, and Derby is pressing on his left side. AIM-120 coming from Duco and an ER being launched by Trigger. And Trigger, let's see if we can see that. There's the 120, but Trigger unsupports that ER, so that's not going to cause the opposition any type of strain. And Trigger's able to outrun the 120 that was launched at him with no problem. So again, Trigger repeatedly doing a really good job of defending these incoming missiles, and we can see on the bottom of his aircraft, he's got 2 ERs and 4 73s remaining. So he's got plenty of weapons, both short and long. Praetorian now starting to press. Here comes an ER in onto Praetorian. Let's grab Praetorian's view. Should be on Praetorian's right. There's the ER. Praetorian, that thing's going to keep its energy, but you notch it. So that missile is not able to stay home with him, and that may be a cause of, there's a missile bug where if you just fly through the notch against, I think, AIM-7s and ERs or any type of R-27 missile, it does not track you in the slightest. So well done by Praetorian defending that. Again, continually, these teams are doing a good job, and nobody's died yet. Fuel, as somebody in chat just pointed out, Admiral pointed out, has got to be becoming an issue.
Agreed. It's been in this for a while, and we've not lost anyone yet, right? Yeah.
Now, if I had to guess, I'm going to guess our 16s are going to be the ones with fuel critical problems here early.
Based upon the planes, I tend to agree with that.
Yeah. But look at the positioning now by Harpia. Harpia in a much better attacking position than ECV56. 3 of them are hot, while virtually everyone from ECV56 is cold, and Ducko may be separating himself from the rest of his companions. Is this going to result in the first casualty? These guys have realized that Ducko is separating himself. And I think Ducko's actually just turning with Fortinero to the east. And Harpy, I think, has realized that. But Maz has turned cold, not wanting to press into an unknown area versus an unknown threat, worrying that maybe a 120 was launched. that he just didn't see. So he's turned cold and is now, I'm going to assume, recommits shortly behind the front lines that are now represented by Trigger, Derby, and Brand. Ducko has now turned cold, and Fortinero is the only hot contact that we see. So Fortinero is now coming headlong into a 3-ship of Harpia, and you can see Harpia's 3-ship 1, 2, and 3 outlined here, closest being 6 miles away. And he now turns cold, and Chu is pressing over to the right. So Harpia being much, much more aggressive than ECV56. But is this a bag and drag situation? Are we seeing a bag and drag scenario develop? Chu is now in a very good position, flanking position against Trigger. Here comes a 120 launch from Chu onto Trigger. We can ride along with Chu. We can see the 120 Trigger, I think, is in a world of trouble, and I think Trigger's dead. Trigger gets taken down, so excellent, excellent positioning by Chu in that scenario. We're going to miss anything, and I think we missed one of the kills down here to the south, or a couple kills down here to the south while we watch Chu go in there. But we've got a 120 coming from Derby now onto Chu, and now Chu is in trouble, but Fortinero is pressing against Brand. But Fortinero breaks off. Why are you breaking off? Did he just give away his adversary? He did. So Brand able to take down his intended target as Fortinero just breaks away. And we can see this one, this SD-10 coming against Derby. Derby gets taken down. You can see that detonate out in the distance. And now Brand, the one-man army in his Mirage, is all over Fortinero 6, closing within 3 miles. So let's try and get some split-screen action going here. Get Fortinero's view. Go to split screen. There's the magic.
End of the match today.
Yeah.
In the clutch a few times.
Yeah, that was another 3 kills from Brand.
What are we, 6 total today or 5 total today?
I think 6.
Yeah, Brand with a dominating performance. I did not realize how dominating performance. I know I'd seen him do a lot of great things. Did not realize he had dominated as badly as he did. That is impressive.
Yeah, yeah. And guys, I'm going to get rid of that transition. We're just going to do fade transitions. We missed too much stuff behind those transitions, so that's going to go. We're just going to do fades. But you missed a magic. I mean, he was in a world of trouble to begin with, so he ate a magic, got face-miled, and there's nothing you can do. But man, a Mirage 2000 with 6 kills. 6 kills. He only has 4 missiles in each round. He killed somebody in round 2 with 2 of those missiles, and then got a guns kill. And then in round 3, 3 of those missiles killed somebody.
And worth pointing out, there's somebody who knows how to use the Mirage, knows how to use it well, put himself in the right positions in almost every instance, and capitalize. That's probably one of the better performances we've seen in a Mirage since, Savior cruising around at, the same altitude as the moon, shooting at everybody.
Yeah.
But I think, it's rare that we see somebody come in and take that plane and do as well as Brand did with it today. So kudos to him. That was very impressive. And for anyone out there who doesn't think the Mirage is still capable in the air combat world we exist in DCS, that I think you was shown today that is not the case. It's just about how you use it.
Well, and Lyra brings up a good point. That was 3 kills in like a minute.
Yeah.
That was really fast. That wasn't 3 kills over the entirety of the match. That was 3 kills back to back to back. Like, bam, bam, bam. And then everybody died.
A lot of Diamond League to it, to where a lot of dancing early on, a lot of kind of jousting, figuring each other out.
It did, didn't it?
Bam,
it really did. And that was very Diamond League-esque. A lot of times in Diamond League, we'll see teams be very standoffish, very defensive, and then things will just start happening, and then everybody's dead.
Right. And that can be a difficult portion of the match to manage for any of these teams. So definitely handled well by these guys today.
For sure.
Brand
absolutely.
Really standing out there, putting the team on his back today, guys.
Yep.
putting the whole squad on his back and,
Yep.
and delivering too on top of that. So credit there.
Yep.
But everybody involved today, I think, was a fairly good, well executed match. I think we saw a lot of good aviating on both sides. Just a few little things here and there that may have cost one the match over the other. So
For sure.
definitely making progress, I think, with a lot of these teams.
I've seen substantial improvement. I mean, we saw ECV56 fly earlier in the year, and seeing them just from then till now has been a substantial move in pilot skill and squadron skill. I mean, substantially better. This match honestly could have gone either way. It was on the edge for so long, and then it just took, specifically in this round, it just took one person dying for the avalanche to start, and once it started, there was no stopping it. So that match, ECV56, if any of you guys are listening, you guys flew very well and could have gone your guys' direction at the drop of a hat. Southern Jumper drops 200 bits. Much appreciated, brother. And I think I missed Saladino. Thanks for the Prime sub. He dropped it 30 minutes ago. Sorry for missing that, brother, but welcome. I guess ECV56 is having these guys RTB.
Well, with the amount of fuel that could have been used in that, not the worst decision. I think that makes sense.
Red asks, what does DCS World have for free? Well, you get the Caucasus map, and then you're going to get the TF51 and the Su-25 are going to be your two free modules. Both of them are good. The Su-25 is actually, in my opinion, one of the best, if not the best made Flaming Cliffs module.
Agreed.
Flaming Cliff style module.
Yeah, agreed.
I think it's probably the best. Just how it flies, its flight characteristics, the things that you can do with it. It's just really good. TF51 is also very good. If you want to do some air racing, you can get into air racing.
To learn like what a kind of somewhat full fidelity aircraft is kind of like, and what you can kind of expect. I think in some of those veins, right? I think that's considered full fidelity. The TF51, right? Is it? I don't know where that falls. And I know it's more than FC3, but is it full fidelity? I don't know the answer. Nevertheless, you get a better idea of what you're getting with one versus the other there, I think, in some cases. But yeah, we need more Su-25 pilots to begin with. I mean, Red doesn't have enough ground pounders these days, so it'd be nice to see some guys get into that Su-25 a bit more. I mean, wouldn't that be a nice one to get a real full fidelity module for, that Su-25, maybe an older variant of it?
That'd be cool.
It'd be a really cool one to see come into the mix.
That would be cool. Red, you do not need to own all the modules to be able to fly in multiplayer.
Nope.
You can fly just with the free stuff. You can see everybody else. You just can't fly them. You just have to own them in order to be able to fly them. You can see all the other ones on PvP or PvE or whatever server you want to connect to. That is not an issue. How far does he have to go?
Yeah, and they bring up a good point. A4 community modules, cool one to learn on. There's the Aramachi, the trainer aircraft. So if you're new to aviation in general, maybe you got a buddy that flies DCS. That's a cool one to just like have somebody teach you, the inner workings of aviation. Maybe not that you need that, but that's always out there. Yeah, there's definitely some cool community stuff going on with ED. I know they don't necessarily really do a whole lot to facilitate that, like some of these other developers, but I think the days of that type of stuff, at least within flight simulation, may be, drawing towards a near with things like 2020. A lot of these things, they want more structure to the way the modding and the third-party stuff kind of works. Because I know as somebody who used a lot of X-Plane, you really have to do your research when it comes to buying X-Plane modules. And, you can get snake bitten with some pretty trash stuff that gets a price tag that it really doesn't deserve. And I do think, all debates on early access aside, when you do say you buy something like the JF17 or the A10, one of these modules that's been out, had some time, you are getting your money's worth out of that module at the end of the day. I do think it's really fair to point that out. As with some of these other sims, it just takes a lot of research and like reading to be sure you're not buying a piece of junk, and I think these developers have really tried to make sure that's not the case anymore, that you can kind of be a little bit more certain that, you know, if it's out for that sim, that it's a decent product, and so on and so forth. So definitely think that's more of a case today than it was a few years
Red,
ago.
you're gonna want you can do it with keyboard and mouse, but it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be really rough. There's people that do it, but I would highly encourage you, if you want to get into DCS, to get either a Thrustmaster HOTAS X, which is their HOTAS that's, I think it's like $40. That
16,000, right?
No, the one below that.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, that's where I would start. If you've never done it, I would start there. Unless you can find like a T16000M.
Track IR will really make it more enjoyable, I think, for you at the end of the day. It offers a little
it will, but it's more expensive. And you can research free variants or do-it-yourself variants of Track IR. So if you have a webcam or a PlayStation Eye from a PS3 or something, there's ways to get around it. So there's things you can do, but I would highly encourage you to get a cheap stick like the Logitech Extreme, or I would prefer the HOTAS Thrustmaster Protoss T-Flight HOTAS X, because it's got a separate throttle handle and just has some more flexibility. But if you have a little bit more money, I would get, and you really think you're going to like it, I would get the T16000M. For sure.
Agreed. I think, you know, I started out with that same HOTAS there, the 16,000M, and, you know, I wanted to be sure I was really gonna, you know, I love aviation, I love planes, and at the time, you know, I thought I liked air combat, didn't realize how much I love it. Obviously, you know, getting to the point where I'm doing this type of stuff, but at the same note, you know, you want to be sure you're going to keep doing it before you go sinking a bunch of money into it. Because I've seen a lot of people buy, you know, thousands of dollars worth of stuff only to see it pop up in a Facebook group for sale a few weeks, months later. Things happen in life, but in general, you want to be sure you're going to be into this stuff before you go sinking a bunch of money into it. And I think the X HOTAS and the 16,000M provide a way of doing that at a low cost to establish if you're going to like it and you're going to enjoy it. And then, you know, down the road, when you feel like, you know, this thing is not serving me, I'm playing multiple times a week, and it's just, you know, you need something that's going to kind of withstand the rigors of flight sim on a heavy basis. You know, you maybe move on to something a little bit more expensive and nicer.
Do you mind posting him some links?
Sure.
Billy, just Amazon links to like the HOTAS X, the T16000, Track IR. Red, look at DCS and flight simming kind of as, I'm not going to, it's an investment. You're not going to get the money back, like return. You're going to get enjoyment back. So don't think you're going to get the money back out of the stuff you put in. You can obviously sell this stuff. There is a market to sell it used, but it's going to be much more enjoyable having a Track IR, or if you have a virtual reality headset or anything like that, and having a HOTAS, a hands-on stick and throttle and stick, it's going to be a better, more enjoyable experience. And I have a feeling if you were to try it and do it for a while with your keyboard and mouse, you'd get burned out, because you're like, this is really hard. I'm not getting any better. And it's because DCS isn't easy. It's a study sim. You have to learn how things work, how the planes work, how aerodynamics work, how energy and stuff works with your plane. It's complicated.
There's very few shortcuts to understanding and getting good at this type of stuff here. It is just time, effort, and soaking in the knowledge. There is a lot to soak in when it comes to doing this. When you talk about a full fidelity, you know, this is an ace combat, right? You know, there's the basic principles of BFM and air combat that you can take and apply to something like ace combat, but there's the amount of associated information you need to know to go into this versus something like ace combat is substantial. And it's when you get into it as someone who kind of like, I liked ace combat before I found DCS. Oh, these things seem similar, right? How different could it be? There's a very, very, very large amount of difference between what you need to know to be successful there versus what you need to know to be successful here. You really, at the end of the day, are like, you know, doing the same amount of research, studying, and information absorption as a real pilot in some ways, right? Is when it comes to certain areas and aspects of things. So you have to kind of look at it like that. In a lot of ways, your best reference material for some of these modules is its own actual, in most cases, several thousand page, NatOps manual or NATOPS manual.
By no means, though, do you have to get that into it. I think Billy's making it sound like you.
Correct. But to get to a high level, I think you talk to people who do this a lot, and you do get lost, not lost in, but you do get into the weeds with a lot of those different types of things, because some of it does apply to making yourself more efficient and more proficient in what we're doing. So
sure, yeah, I need to make a panel for like an Amazon link that showcases beginning gear. That people can look at. I probably should do that. That's a good idea, Red. That's a good idea. Did you post those links? I guess
Track IR and the 16,000 I posted.
Okay, all right. So, Red, in summing it up, it's just going to come down to how much money you want to throw at it, and that's when I started with. I started with a Hotag Warhawk, or with a Warthog, but when I bought it, they weren't nearly as expensive as they are now. COVID has really pushed the prices up quite a bit, so
Indeed.
I think I bought mine. I bought mine on sale for like $300. But now, if you looked at my setup, which I think you can see an older picture of it down below, it just takes over. My wife loves it because I'm always home. I don't go anywhere, but this is where all my money goes. So yeah, you end up getting $1,000 sticks and stuff. By no means do you have to do that. But sky's the limit, right? The sky's the limit with every hobby. But it's just the entry can be very low. It's just how much money do you want to put into it?
I feel like I'm at this point now where I'm constantly like, I'll see something and I'm like, I could do that. I don't need to do that, but I want to do that. So you get to this point where I think you become fairly content with what you have, but that option to always upgrade or change is kind of always creeping in the back of your head.
How much have I spent? Oh man, I don't even know. I don't even know that I want to know.
I have a dedicated machine for my sim pit, so I don't know if we count that into the rig. I'm probably, if you add up peripherals and just joysticks in general, I'm probably right around $2,000 in hardware, and then probably another close to $2,000 in just the machine that I use for this. On the monitor and all that fun stuff.
Let me grab a picture while we're talking about all of this stuff.
I can do that too.
I run on one machine. My setup used to be pretty complex, and then I've changed it down. I used to do IT for a living, so I had a lot of stuff already, but I have a tendency to go down pretty deep rabbit holes where I want a lot of things. I know what I want, and I want things to work a specific way, and unfortunately with wanting things to work a specific way, a lot of that stuff doesn't happen until you get into more expensive hardware, which is unfortunate, but I think more expensive stuff has a tendency to last longer, and the resale value also increases by quite a bit. So I'm just uploading a picture to Imager. There we go. See if that shows up. Is this like a different... What am I logged in as? What's R87? Why is it not showing up? Oh, probably because I'm not on page 1. But any of you guys have pictures of your setups or anything? Does anybody else have images that they can showcase?
This is from around Christmas time. I've since rearranged some stuff, but that one's kind of current. This is with the
there's my yoke. there's my setup, or what I'm sitting in front of right now. The TV and the touchscreens and stuff to the left, and those monitors are off, because that's my flight stuff, and then the stuff to the right is what I use for streaming. But it's all about what you want to do and knowing what you want. My biggest advice would be to go into it with a game plan and just execute that game plan to the best of your ability and make it work that way. Try not to go in into anything without a plan, because then you end up buying stuff that you don't necessarily want. My biggest suggestion for everybody would be that's trying to buy new hardware or anything is ask the community for advice. Like Billy and I, we're happy to give advice. You guys can hit us up on Discord. If you guys aren't on the Splash One Gaming Discord, make sure you check it out. There's a panel for it down below. But we're always happy to give advice. People make fun of me because I'm the guy that will make you spend more money, because I'll talk things up. Like I'll have all this really cool stuff, and I get things sent to me by sponsors and things, so I get to try some different things. Like I get to try things. So I have a tendency of telling people this stuff is awesome. You should get it, and then you end up having less money in your wallet. So
I did about a month of research on my pit before I bought everything. Like I sat down and kind of took a space in my house and set it up for this. Bought everything and kind of just did it on that note. After playing DCS for about a month and like realizing like, holy crap, this is what I need to be doing, and kind of just made this whole. I was doing a lot of Tarkov, and then I found DCS and made like the full on switch over to it. So
well, Vold, your CH products will last through a world war, man. Those things are built to last. Those things will never fail. I mean, considering that CH builds products primarily for forklifts and commercial use, I don't think those are going to go anywhere. You made a good choice. I had my pedals, my CH pedals were dropped off of a 2-story building accidentally, and they still were, nothing happened to them. They were fine. They're like the cockroaches of flight sim gear. They're good. You can't kill them. But quick shout outs to our sponsors, Fox Mount. Speaking of our mount or setups and stuff, if you guys want to mount stuff to your desks, Fox Mount, he's the man. Makes 80/20 mounts, and he's the man on the market. I've got a couple of them, and he'll customize stuff, but I'm sure he's under a backlog. Like tons of people order from him, and he's just a guy in his house. So I'm sure last time I talked to him was a while ago, but he was running behind. TacView, we talked about TacView earlier. If you guys don't have TacView Advanced, I would suggest you get it, because you can take advantage of live telemetry here on the stream. So you guys can watch live on TacView while the stream's going. You don't even need to have the tracks. You just connect to my live TacView real telemetry output, and you guys get all of the telemetry, and you guys can move the camera and see what's going on and all that jazz. So make sure you check that out. What else? Wild Weasel Apparel, Billy, so if you guys have a want for aviation apparel, he's your man. Aviation apparel, Billy, and he's constantly adding stuff. And I think we got a shirt giveaway on Saturday, so make sure you're here for that. He's got everything. He's got some really cool stuff. So if you guys want to check that out, panel below.
Working on some new stuff for the holidays. Hopefully, we'll see. Maybe get some button downs. That's angling hard to try to get some button down shirts in there, but not an easy thing to find the supplier for it. No. So.
Buddy Fox Ultimate button box for the A10. Buttons are made by Nokia engineers. If you fly the A10, that's what you should get. Eagle Dynamics for the awesome sim. There is talk about Folds of Honor or Fight for Honor coming back. So if anybody wants to sign up for that, be watching for that in the forums. So there is talks about that happening again. So be watching for that. If anybody remembers Fight for Honor last year, it generates donations for the Folds of Honor charity for fallen warriors. So be watching for that. Black Hog, one of the best button boxes out there. I'm still waiting on mine, stuck in the boat somewhere in the Atlantic. So hopefully it gets here soon. I'm anxiously awaiting that. Every package I get, I'm like, Black Hog! And it never is. Heat Blur for the F-14. We saw the F-14 showcase today. Heat Blur, if you're listening, please give me the A6. I want the A6. I want the side-by-side tandem. I want multiple Mark 82s. Give them to me. And then, of course, Thrustmaster. The pride and joy, the guys that make these streams go round. Their newly announced Airbus Edition throttle and joystick, which is going to be awesome and make cost of entry for MF 2020 a lot easier. If you guys are looking for anything, the M2000 or the T16000M is an awesome intro HOTAS. The Warthog is awesome. The Hornet grip is one of the best on the market for grips, which you can actually use their grips on multiple platforms. VKB and Verpil, so on and so forth. So if you guys want any of that stuff, be sure you check them out. Billy, you got anything else? Oh, I was gonna say what who's flying next? Who's flying next? Task Force Trident taking on Phoenix Task Force is gonna be Saturday's match. 1500 Zulu. If you guys don't know Zulu time, check out zulutime.net and it'll tell you your local in Zulu. So make sure you check that out. That's our next match. Task Force Trident taking on Phoenix Task Force. I don't know where they're flying, but it's another Gold League matchup. And then here in the next couple weeks, we'll see Diamond League starting to take back off. So it's a few more weeks, but then we're going to have Diamond League getting back underway. We've been missing them because I had to reorganize some stuff in Diamond League, but they will be coming back. So wrapping it up, Billy, anything you got? Usually, man, a few words.
Oh, yep. Sorry, I was muted. I was saying more, but it wasn't coming through. Got a Southern Jumper with that F-15 hype. Yeah, that's about. I mean, I'm ready to go for Saturday. Looking forward to the next match already.
Me too. But guys, that's all we got. Until next time, fly safe in those virtual skies. And I'll see you Saturday, 1500 Zulu. See you later.
Adios.